When we started freshman year, my roommate loved being the center of attention and called herself a pure but clueless college student. During military training, she deliberately didn't wear the uniform. Oh, I thought we could wear our own cute dresses. When running for class committee, she sang on stage, "Hello, hello, 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 my hair, it's all real, you know." The audience exchanged bewildered glances. I tried to gently warn her out of kindness, but she took offense and spitefully put rat poison in my drink. "If you're so sharp and clever, how come you can't save yourself now?" Amidst the searing pain that racked every fiber of my being, I found myself back at the start of the school year. Since she's so keen on grabbing attention, I might as well give her a helping hand. 1. Hey everyone, I'm Maeve, and from now on we'll be roommates. Looking forward to getting to know you all. I froze for a moment, then snapped my head up to look toward the source of the voice. The stark contrast between the seemingly harmless girl before me and the deranged version from my memory was jarring. The scorching sunlight streaming through the window anchored me in reality. I couldn't believe it. I had actually been reborn. Maeve fiddled with the hem of her shirt, pouting slightly. "Oh, and just so you know, I'm that classic clueless college student you see online. I might be a bit scatterbrained sometimes, so please bear with me." With a playful grin, she stuck out her tongue. The other two roommates exchanged glances, their expressions too complex for words, but out of politeness, I still greeted her warmly. I clenched my fists so tightly that my nails dug into my palms. In my past life, it was this very demeanor of Maeve's that had deceived me. She was constantly playing the part of an innocent and naive college girl to perfection. Many classmates were quietly giving her the cold shoulder. After wrestling with my thoughts, I waited until we were alone in the dorm before carefully broaching the subject with her. "Maeve, the whole innocent and clueless college student thing is just an internet meme. We should know when to drop the joke." A flicker of irritation and malice crossed her face, but I failed to notice it at the time. The moment I drank the drugged water she handed me, her face contorted into a frenzied mask, eyes glaring with viperous intensity as if to devour me. Excruciating pain seized my entire being, sending me writhing helplessly on the ground, her voice now a hellish shriek. "Oh, you're so clever. If you're really that sharp, why can't you get yourself out of this mess?" The last thing I saw before losing consciousness was her maniacal, sneering face looming over me. Even now, I can feel my body trembling faintly as the searing pain hasn't fully subsided, my eyes burning crimson. To avoid raising suspicion, I had to feign illness and rush into the restroom. The cold water splashed on my face, its refreshing chill gradually clearing my mind. I will have my revenge. My eyes hardened as I stared intently at my reflection in the mirror. Since I've been given a second chance, I'm determined to make the most of it. Since Maeve is so fond of putting on a show and grabbing attention, I might as well give her a helping hand, too. Though autumn had arrived, the sun overhead remained scorching. Heels together, toes apart, legs straight, stomach tucked in, lean forward. The drill instructor's booming voice pierced through our ears as beads of sweat dripped from our foreheads. Everyone was utterly miserable. Reporting, "Sir, I overslept and ended up late." A soft, delicate voice rang out, drawing everyone's gaze toward its source. A mocking smirk tugged at the corner of my mouth as I turned to watch the drama unfold. There was Maeve, wearing a pink peplum dress with two messy buns perched haphazardly on her head, looking completely out of it, which would have been fine anywhere but a military training session. The instructor had never seen such bizarre behavior before and was momentarily stunned into silence. He furrowed his brow and demanded sharply, "What's your name? Forget being late for a moment. Who gave you permission to wear that to military training?" Hearing this, Maeve froze for a second. She stared blankly at the instructor, her face filled with self-blame and regret. We have to wear uniforms for military training. I thought I could wear my own little dress." She nervously fidgeted with the hem of her skirt, then suddenly bowed at a perfect 90-degree angle. "I'm so sorry. I can be a bit clueless sometimes. It won't happen again." The instructor's brow remained furrowed, his face stern and lips pressed tightly together. He shot a glance at Maeve. "You get changed in 10 minutes. People nearby were whispering to each other. "Who is this woman? What an idiot. Is she actually stupid or just pretending? I think she's just seeking attention. Unbelievable. How did I end up in the same class as someone like this?" The instructor's voice rang out again. "No whispering down there. Stand properly. Everyone gets 20 more minutes." Then pointing at Maeve, who looked utterly clueless, he barked, "You, 1 extra hour." But Maeve was still up to her old tricks. To fully commit to her naive and clueless college student persona, she kept making deliberate mistakes, forcing the instructor to constantly correct her stance. Before we knew it, we'd been standing under the scorching sun for a full hour. Everyone already had a poor first impression of Maeve, and now she'd made them stand under the scorching sun even longer. Their irritation, compounded by the blistering heat, couldn't help but breed resentment toward her. During the break, a blunt classmate pointed directly at Maeve and snapped, "You didn't even know we're supposed to wear the issued military training uniforms. Are you actually stupid or just pretending? If you're genuinely this clueless, I suggest getting your head checked, and maybe investigate how you even got into college." Others nearby chimed in, "Seriously, do you just love being the center of attention? Get a grip, lady. Read the room, if you want to put on a show. Don't drag the rest of us into it." Maeve's face was deathly pale, her eyes vacant and hollow. She stammered as she spoke, "I really don't know. I'm just so clueless." "Oh sure, you're as dumb as a pig." Happy now, watching Maeve get ostracized by everyone, I just crossed my arms and leaned against the shady tree, enjoying the show. In my past life, although I was also somewhat dissatisfied with Maeve's behavior, but considering she was my roommate after all and seemed quite naive, I thought maybe she genuinely didn't understand because she'd never been through military training. Driven by a strong sense of justice, I rushed over and shielded her behind me, speaking up in her defense. I ended up taking a lot of flack for it too, but I don't regret it one bit. Yet afterward, Maeve didn't show a shred of gratitude. She insisted that all her classmates were naive and foolish college students. With no ill intentions, she even blamed me for my harsh words, saying I didn't act like a pure and innocent college student at all. This time, I watched coldly as everyone criticized her, a mocking smile played on their lips. When we got back to the dorm, Maeve's eyes were red-rimmed, and she burst into tears, overwhelmed with hurt. The three of us exchanged glances, but none of us stepped forward to comfort her. She turned away and started scrolling through her phone. "It's only just begun. I haven't even done anything yet." 3. Probably scared straight by the scolding, Maeve didn't cause any more trouble during the rest of the military training. Everyone gradually forgot about the incident. Then came the first major class meeting of the semester, which was primarily focused on electing class officers. In our previous life, Maeve eagerly asked me, "Clara, what do you think about me performing a song on stage? That super catchy one that's been going around lately." "My hair, it's real hair." I furrowed my brows slightly, feeling it wasn't quite appropriate. I began cautiously, "Maeve, I don't think this is the right occasion for that song." She cut me off with a displeased look. "Clara, I'm telling you this because we're friends. I just love singing. Isn't everyone always saying to be your true self? Why do you want me to put on a fake, serious act like everyone else?" We bright-eyed college women must always stay true to ourselves, no matter the situation. I shut my mouth awkwardly. This time, when Maeve asked me the same question, I smiled and agreed with her. "Absolutely, Maeve, you're truly one of a kind, so different from everyone else. I'll help you film a video later." With Maeve being so beautiful and adorable, it's bound to go viral. Hearing this, Maeve's cheeks flushed pink. Her face lit up with a proud and hopeful smile. "I can already picture myself going viral online." I sneered inwardly. "Of course we'll make your wish come true. First lift you up to the clouds, then watch you come crashing down. Wouldn't that be more satisfying?" Hi everyone, I'm Maeve, a freshman in electronic information, just your typical wide-eyed and clueless college girl. After saying this, Maeve on stage tilted her head playfully and quickly stuck out her tongue, putting on an innocent act. Murmurs were already rippling through the audience. I raised my phone and gave Maeve an encouraging smile. Her delicate voice then continued, "Now I'll show everyone my campaign strengths. Hello, my hair, it's all real, you know." Every now and then, she'd lift her hair and tilt her head in sync with the melody. I couldn't help but chuckle at the sight. Here was a grown woman deliberately playing the fool just to get attention. Hilarious. The teacher standing nearby, along with the other students participating in the class committee election, all wore expressions of utter disbelief and speechless dismay. The students in the audience exchanged bewildered glances. Is she out of her mind or something? Wasn't she the same one during military training, putting on an act to get attention? Better not say it. What if she really has some screws loose? Maeve on stage couldn't hear these hushed whispers from the audience. Even if she heard it, she wouldn't have taken it seriously. "That's enough. Class committee elections aren't for showcasing your talents." The teacher finally couldn't stand it any longer and cut in promptly. Maeve, who had been interrupted, looked somewhat displeased. She stood on the stage, nervously twisting the hem of her skirt with her right hand. Wide-eyed and tilting her head, she asked the teacher, "Is this not allowed?" "Teacher, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought it was okay. I'm just a naive and clueless college girl who doesn't understand anything." "Cut the crap. How can an adult be so emotionally immature? Stop pretending," a fed-up student in the audience shouted angrily, and the crowd quickly joined in. Maeve, stunned by the retort, flushed and then paled, glaring fixedly at the boy who had just spoken. "Everyone online says college students are naive and foolish. What exactly are you questioning about me, lady? I'm begging you, if you want to put on a show, Do it at home. The school doesn't welcome you here. The teacher finally stepped in to separate the two as their argument grew increasingly heated, but after today's incident, everyone's prejudice against Maeve only deepened. Someone openly called her out on the campus forum. "Hey XX from Electronics Information Class 2, that empty head of yours is always scheming for attention, wearing skirts during military training, singing annoying jingles at class meetings, if nothing else works. We'll crowdfund an IQ test for you." Some even had the audacity to confront Maeve directly in the class group chat. Maeve stared at the rapidly scrolling messages, her face flushed bright red as she glared fixedly at her phone. "How dare they say these things about me? The internet already labels me as a naive and foolish college girl. Why do they have to be so aggressive?" Our response was a unified silence from the three of us who remained. The other two exchanged a glance and wordlessly stepped out in unison. Only Maeve and I were left in the dorm room. In my past life, right around this very moment, out of genuine concern, I carefully chose my words to gently remind Maeve, yet she flew into a humiliated rage, directing all her pent-up fury at me. With a vicious glare, she watched me writhing in pain on the ground. "You bitch, what nonsense are you spouting? This is all your jealousy. You must have sabotaged me. How else could this happen? Oh, you're so clever. If you're really that sharp, why can't you get yourself out of this mess?" At that thought, a dull, churning pain began to stir in my stomach again. I masked the hatred in my eyes and smiled as I handed my phone to Maeve. "Maeve, look, I recorded your singing. Isn't it absolutely adorable? Maeve, you're not just beautiful but also incredibly adorable. In internet slang, you've got that clueless college student charm. Don't worry about those people not getting it. The public always recognizes genuine appeal. If you post it online, everyone would absolutely adore you." Maeve, who had been fuming moments earlier, broke into a radiant smile at my words. She tilted her head, adopting a slightly bashful expression as she feigned concern. "Really? But there are so many gorgeous girls online." I firmly turned her to face me and said, "Don't worry, Maeve. There may be plenty of pretty girls, but you're the only adorably clueless college student." She seemed convinced by my words, and after some half-hearted refusals, she finally uploaded the video online, with the caption, "OMG, I had no idea we weren't supposed to sing during class committee elections. This is so embarrassing." Maeve's video went viral the moment it was uploaded. The reason is simple: she's truly pioneering in her niche. Netizens were just in the mood for some entertainment. That evening, Maeve clutched her phone, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Clara, can you believe it actually went viral? I'm about to become a major influencer. Let's see where those haters can hide their faces now. Unless they write me a 5,000 word apology letter, I won't forgive them. How dare they question an innocent college girl? My followers just jumped by 500K. Everyone's saying I'm the perfect example of today's adorably naive college student." I simply smiled without a word. Initially, Maeve's video comments were filled with hilarious roasts from witty netizens. "That look just screams future college freshman. You'd never see that expression from someone who's worked a single day. OMG, watching her sing that brainworm bop is killing me." Faced with tears of joy, the dust mites on my mattress are literally shaking with laughter. Haha. But since it went viral, it inevitably got seen by some schoolmates who'd heard of Maeve. They started leaving salty comments under the video. As someone in her major, let me just say there's a fine line between quirky and cringy. She showed up late to military training wearing a cutesy dress on purpose, and during class elections she hijacked the stage to sing viral songs. Do people actually find that kind of behavior endearing? I can vouch for the previous commenter. We're in the same class. Let's just say she's the type who'll do anything for attention, completely disregarding how it affects others. If this is true, then this blogger is really hard to defend. These actions do seem deliberately attention-seeking. Maeve's initially cheerful mood twisted into a grimace as scattered negative comments began appearing in the comments section. Her face contorted slightly from the intensity of her anger. Are they insane? After all this, they're still dragging me through the mud just to slander me. They can't stand seeing me succeed. Pure jealousy. Once I find out who these people are, I'm suing every single one of them. Defamation of character. Everyone says I'm just a naive, clueless college student, but they're blowing it way out of proportion. The other two roommates in the dorm fell dead silent, terrified that the unfounded rage might turn on them. Suddenly, Maeve whipped her head around and spoke to one of them in a chilling tone, her usually innocent eyes now sharp and piercing. "Mia, you're not one of them, are you?" The girl being questioned was startled by her intense demeanor and quickly shook her head. "No, never. I've never said anything about you in your video comments. If you don't believe me, here, I'll show you my phone." Maeve then turned to another roommate, who gave the same response. In the end, she spent hours deleting all the negative comments that were unfavorable to her and blocking the users who posted them. After that, she was constantly checking her phone. Scrolling through every new comment, terrified of missing any negative feedback targeting her. The internet has no memory, and in everyone's eyes, she remained that naive and foolish college girl, but I wasn't about to let her get away with it. They first lifted her to the clouds, making her lose all sense of reality. 5. Internet fame is always as fleeting as the wind. With Maeve's overnight success, many imitators have jumped on the bandwagon, some even mimic her more convincingly, more innocent, yet more foolish. Maeve certainly wouldn't allow these imitators to get more popular than her, so she poured all her energy into creating videos with meticulous effort, skipping elective classes and slacking off during major courses to scroll through videos, watching other naively clueless college students' series, occasionally letting out a few scornful and mocking comments. Seriously, this is so dumb, it's obviously fake. How did this even get over 1 million likes? She looks at least 27 or 28, doesn't she? And she's still pretending to be a college student. Do these netizens even have any judgment? How could this older woman possibly be one of those naive and clueless college kids? Every time the professor called on Maeve in their major class with a furrowed brow, she would always pout and bat her eyes. Professor, I don't know how. I'm just not very bright. Eventually, even the teachers gave up on her, allowing her to play on her phone during class or even skip lessons altogether. The only consequence was that she lost her participation grade. Her classmates had long grown accustomed to her behavior. Aside from gossiping about her behind her back, there was little else they could do, so they simply kept their distance from her. The 3 rows surrounding her seat remained completely empty, yet she remained unfazed, convinced her classmates were simply jealous of her newfound internet fame. They're just jealous of how popular I've become. Even so, Maeve's follower count continued to grow at a sluggish pace. Clara, how can I go viral again? So many people are copying my style now. Some of them even have more followers than I do. I shook my head, indicating there was nothing I could do to help, but I pretended to bring it up casually. Hey, I heard the school is organizing a singing competition for National Day. It's supposed to be a joint event with several other universities, and they've even invited some media outlets. If someone gets popular from this, it could really launch them from obscurity to fame. What a shame, I'm just not that lucky. With this voice of mine, singing is out of the question. Hearing this, Maeve's eyes flickered with thought. She asked me for the event details and immediately started tinkering away. I glanced over and saw it was the event registration page. A slight smile touched my lips. My plan had worked, this time. It will propel you to the highest peaks, but when you're up high, is the ground beneath you truly solid? Perhaps it's merely an illusion crafted by those with hidden agendas, ready to send you plunging into the abyss when you least expect it. 6. Hey everyone, I'm contestant No. 9 Maeve. You might have come across my videos online. Yep, I'm that delightfully clueless college girl, on stage. Maeve still radiated that signature blend of innocence and utter goofiness, and so the audience found themselves subjected once again to her insanely catchy anthem, egg yolk duck yolk poached egg, a choo-choo little choo-choo, diamondback rattlesnake, choo-choo little choo-choo. With exaggerated eye-rolling, foot-stomping, and pouting, she put on a sickeningly sweet act of cuteness. The audience felt like they'd been plunged into darkness. How dare someone of this caliber even show up to a competition like this? It's an assault on my ears. I know, she's a minor influencer, probably just filming for clout again. They're all like that these days. Even influencers should know their limits. The deliberate dumb act is just ridiculous. I raised my phone above the crowd, angling it perfectly to capture Maeve's pretty face and her exaggerated ditzy beauty routine in all its cringeworthy glory. After her performance, Maeve came running over to me, beaming with excitement. Clara, let me see the video you took. I handed her my phone with a smile. Why do I look so short here? And this part, you totally missed capturing my expression. And also, alright, I'll just go back and do some editing, tweak the filters and all that. With this footage, let's see who dares challenge my title as the most adorably clueless college student. That very afternoon, the moment Maeve posted the video, it instantly racked up over 10 million likes and shares. Maeve was so thrilled in her dorm room that her eyes crinkled into happy little slits. I always knew I was born for the spotlight. Those middle-aged women trying to copy my naive and dumb college girl act. Do they even deserve to? Someone genuinely clueless like me should be the one going viral. She then turned to us cramming for midterms and said, honestly, you're wasting time with these rigid textbooks. Live authentically like me, be bold, be yourself. Look how much engagement I'm getting. Brands are lining up to collaborate. She let out another inexplicable chuckle. Forget it, you guys don't have anything eye-catching anyway. Just focus on your studies. When I become a famous influencer someday, I'll hire you as my assistants. I tend to speak bluntly, it's because I'm just a naive and clueless college girl. I'm sure you won't mind, right? The other two flushed bright red with anger at her outrageous remarks. One of them wanted to argue back, but was stopped by the person beside them. After a long pause, she finally managed to squeeze out a sentence. Well, let's hope our big shot influencer doesn't flunk the midterms. I heard this one's really tough. How embarrassing would it be if she can't even pass a simple midterm exam? Oh, stop worrying about her, she'll be fine. The teacher doesn't even call on her in class anymore. Catching the thick sarcasm dripping from their words, Maeve shot them a furious glare, but she was also deeply unsettled. She truly hadn't learned a single thing since the semester began. Nothing from the lectures ever stuck in her mind, let alone the homework assignments. When the teacher said she'd get 0 for class participation, she thought it was just an empty threat. It seems to be true now. She was torn between conflicting emotions at that moment, thrilled about reaching 1 million followers, yet filled with dread at the thought of her upcoming exams and results. She didn't want this little blemish to tarnish her path to becoming an internet celebrity. Just then, a link popped up in one of the QQ groups she was in. 7. Aren't you going to study, Maeve? I heard the midterms are going to be really tough. I put on a deliberately puzzled expression and asked Maeve with feigned curiosity. Maeve is happily putting on makeup in front of the mirror. She's been at it for 2 hours now, but she's still not satisfied. Oh please, I don't need to study. Sure, I might be a naive and silly college girl in real life, but when it comes to academics, I've totally got it covered. I just need to skim through the book before the exam and I'll understand everything. Ugh, stop distracting me. You made me mess up my eyeliner. I've got a video shoot later. Don't talk to me anymore. From an angle she couldn't see, the corner of my mouth curled into a mocking smirk. Looks like the fish is biting. I've always known that in all the school's package delivery groups, class substitution chats, and secondhand forums, there are messages about getting on board for exams. I deliberately studied in front of Maeve to provoke her irritation and anxiety. She's bound to take desperate measures. Seeing her current state, I'm absolutely certain she will cheat on this midterm exam. What a shame. Little did she know that this midterm exam was actually a coordinated effort by the school to identify which students had been cheating, a carefully laid trap with the teachers. The answers aren't entirely answers, they're half-truths at best. It's all about who dares to copy them. By analyzing the final accuracy distribution, we can easily spot those who bought the answers. Soon enough, the day of the final exam arrived. Maeve was sitting right behind me, humming a carefree tune and even posting a new video right before the exam started. I may be a naive and silly college student, but when it comes to exams, I'm absolutely brilliant. The comments section was flooded with nothing but praise. Wow, sis is amazing, a total airhead in daily life but actually a straight-A student. This contrast is everything. Waiting for your good news, shut those haters calling you stupid right up. Maeve was in a great mood. During the exam, she kept making noises repeatedly. Sometimes she'd let out a sharp exhale. Other times she'd abruptly stop writing. Finally, just half an hour into the exam, she suddenly slammed her pen on the desk with a loud crash. As everyone turned to look at her, she slowly rose to her feet. A triumphant smile played across her face. As she handed the exam paper to the proctor, the teacher simply smiled without a word, while she cast a disdainful glance at the other students still bent over their desks, then turned and strode out of the classroom with an air of proud triumph. Guys, I'm done with my exam. This level of advanced math was a piece of cake for me. Nailed it, fam. Oh no, my shoelace came untied. Is there anyone in the live stream who knows how to tie shoelaces? Can you teach me how to do it? This is so hard. I don't think I can figure it out. I'm just your typical clueless college girl when it comes to life skills. Comments: wow sis, you're absolutely adorable. So ditzy. Classic clueless college girl vibes. LOL. Can solve advanced calculus but can't tie her shoes. Haha. Maeve is trending again. A total airhead in daily life, but a genius at advanced math. Big sister is absolutely adorable. 8. Maeve basked in all the admiration. She absolutely loved this feeling of being the center of attention and envy. Playing dumb to win so many people's affection was just too easy. Then came the official notice. Maeve from the School of Electronic Information was caught cheating on the advanced mathematics exam. Her scores have been invalidated, and she has received a demerit. Among other disciplinary actions, any repeat offense will result in immediate expulsion. Everyone was going wild. Maeve's face turned deathly pale as she stared at the comparison between her test scores and the answer key sent by her advisor, along with the video footage of her using an electronic device during the exam. Her hands were trembling uncontrollably. No, this can't be real. Someone must have doctored this. That's not me. She let out a furious roar, completely unhinged. Meanwhile, other students at school who caught wind of the news swarmed to Maeve's social media accounts to share this announcement, also bringing up the military training incident at the start of the semester. The class committee elections, and the campus singer competition. Realizing they'd been duped, netizens flew into a rage and banded together to rate all of Maeve's videos. I knew it. No grown adult could possibly be that dumb. I had a bad feeling the moment I first saw her. It was obviously fake. I heard she doesn't even attend classes, just spends all day chasing internet fame instead of doing anything productive. Constantly studying how to make videos and put on that dumb act with makeup. This is it, a cheating fraud trying to market herself as the beautiful airhead genius. She doesn't fit a single part of that description. Maeve tried to go live to explain herself, but the moment she started streaming, she was met with an overwhelming wave of mockery and insults. Terrified, she quickly ended the broadcast. As the cheating scandal came to light, more and more people came forward to dig up dirt on Maeve. She promotes shady products. I used to enjoy her videos and bought a product she recommended during a live stream. It ended up ruining my skin. When I checked, it turned out to be some unregulated junk produced in a sketchy workshop. I was her classmate. Not only did she act foolish on purpose during military training and class meetings, but she also frequently disrespected teachers in class. She even regularly slandered and spread rumors about other creators in her niche. I have recordings to prove it. But the most eye-catching was the latest video. The girl in the video was only about 18 or 19, yet she looked extremely frail, with pale lips and vacant eyes. In anguish, she revealed the scars on her body. Some clearly from burns were particularly shocking. She sorrowfully recounted how she had endured long-term bullying from a small group led by Maeve since 7th grade. He forced her head into the icy lake water in the dead of winter and pressed burning cigarette butts into her arms and thighs. She thought about resisting, and even tried to fight back, but it only resulted in even more brutal beatings and curses. As a result, she developed depression and lived in a state of chronic nervous exhaustion. Even now, the shadow of long-term bullying still lingers. When I found her, her eyes were brimming with tears. Will she really face consequences for what she's done? Swallowing the lump in my throat, I began to speak. Of course. Those who do wrong must face the consequences. Maeve was permanently branded with infamy, with every one of her actions being widely condemned by netizens, and the school ultimately expelled her, and she was saddled with massive debt for breaching the contract. The day Maeve slunk away from school, I made a point of standing at the gate to watch her leave. The weight that had been hanging over me for months finally lifted. I feel completely at ease, thoroughly enjoying my vibrant and passionate college life. Story 2. My sister has always been naturally kind-hearted, whereas I have always been seen as the bad seed. A heatwave was approaching, so we stockpiled supplies at home to avoid going out. When she saw a boy, who appeared to be around 7 or 8 years old, crying and asking for help, she decided to take him in. After all, we've prepared so much, one more person won't make a difference, especially since he's just a child. I warned her that the boy seemed unusually mature for his age and that things might not be as simple as they appear. I suggested we observe him a bit longer. She accused me of being cold-hearted by nature and let the boy into our house despite my concerns. Not only that, she convinced our mom to make me share a room with the boy. That night, the little boy with ill intentions climbed into my bed. I was violated, and yet my sister asked me to forgive and forget, and to marry him. She even locked me on a sun-drenched balcony with temperatures soaring over 60 degrees Celsius to force my compliance. In a fit of rage, I set fire to the house, killing everyone. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to a day before it all happened, looking at my unscathed sister, and I laughed. This time, I will show them what being a true bad seed means. Eleanor, you're amazing for stockpiling so much, Aurora said. Now even if the heat wave lasts a month as the officials predict, we won't have to worry. The pain of being engulfed in flames was still fresh, yet I could already hear my sister Aurora's voice. Eleanor, go and prepare some more. The more supplies we have, the more people I can help. I stared blankly at Aurora in front of me. I was supposed to have died with her in the fire. Seeing no response from me, Aurora pushed me. Are you listening? I nodded and replied, I heard you. The reality of the touch made me realize I had been reborn. And I was reborn to the day before any of the tragedy had occurred. Aurora kept talking. That's right. I always said you need to control your temper and learn to be kind. It'll make you a better person. In my past life, I listened to her and our mom. I took out all my savings and stockpiled even more supplies when we already had enough. Soon after, the things I had desperately gathered were given away to others who hadn't managed to secure any by her. Seeing me motionless, she urged, hurry up. What are you standing there for? I wiped the sweat from my forehead, licked my dry lips, and walked to the fridge to grab a cold Coke to quench the burning heat I felt. Then I looked at her and said, let's go together. Used to bossing me around, Aurora was stunned by my suggestion. She quickly responded, it's so hot outside, running around could kill you, and it's chaotic these days. I don't want to go. Besides, you're strong and experienced. If I went, wouldn't I just be in your way? So It turns out the heat could kill, and they were well aware of it. At this time last year, the temperature had already soared to 46 degrees Celsius, yet they still didn't care and sent me out to gather more supplies. I smiled at my mom. An extra person could lend a hand. Besides, my sister is worried about the heat. She could just wear sun protection and carry an umbrella, right? Or Mom, why don't you come with me? Of course. My mom didn't want to go, and immediately looked at my sister. If your sister asks you to go, just go. It's good to help each other out. As I've grown older, I find it hard to endure such high temperatures. Is it only me who can stand it, while everyone else can't? With no other choice, my sister, looking defeated, stepped out of the house with me. In my previous life, my mother always favored my sister. I always thought it was because I wasn't trying hard enough or obedient enough. It wasn't until I was on my deathbed that I learned the real reason. It was all because of my dear sister. My sister, 3 years my senior, studies genetics. She claimed that her research with big data provided ample evidence that I was inherently evil. She told my mother about how I used to dissect frogs when I was young. Not only that, but any dead rats or cats found at home were also my doing. She brought up many cases she found, saying that people like me were born without emotions and had high IQs, which is why I seemed cold but did well in school. She warned that if not controlled, I might end up committing serious crimes. My mother believed her and always guarded against me. My sister claimed I had an emotional disorder and needed to follow her advice and do more good deeds. But what I realized in my second life was that all these good deeds were sacrifices made at my expense, and because of my sister's words, even when I was tortured to near death, there was not a hint of distress in my mother's eyes. Instead, she seemed relieved. Thankfully, fate gave me a second chance at life. This time, I'll show them what a true bad seed looks like. Let's say I asked my sister to gather supplies with me, but it was just an excuse. Why should I suffer alone in such high temperatures? Once we stepped outside, a wave of heat hit us. The scorching sensation made one want to jump right back into an air-conditioned home, but I knew I had to go out. If I missed today, the temperature would only continue to rise, eventually soaring above a terrifying 60 degrees Celsius. Once outside, I purposely sped up, leaving my sister behind and heading straight for the destination, though I blindly trusted them once. I wasn't foolish to the extreme. Extreme weather, along with high temperature warnings and abnormal magnetic fields, indicated a tough battle ahead, so, when initially stocking up on supplies, I stored most of them in a rented basement, leaving only some at home. In my previous life, I didn't have the chance to tell them before they betrayed me. With sufficient supplies, I no longer needed to scramble for more but went to buy a lithium chainsaw instead, while not as lethal as a dagger. It was enough to intimidate. Besides, I also bought several fruit knives and daggers for self-defense when necessary. Finally, I purchased a few hidden cameras. After gathering everything I needed into my backpack, I headed to the basement. In my past life, I found the basement cooler than an air-conditioned room when stocking up on supplies. Considering the current temperature of over 40 degrees Celsius, the basement was expected to be no more than 30 degrees. Back then, the basement, used by the landlord for storage, was too hot and exhausting, so I often rested there. Luckily, when cleaning it out, I found a large inflatable swimming pool measuring 3 centimeters by 175 centimeters by 58 centimeters. Being thrifty, I checked that the pool was in good condition and didn't throw it away. Now, it seemed the pool could serve as a reservoir. With this in mind, I began filling it with water. I knew that by the 10th day of the heat wave, water would become a major issue. After getting all my work done, I finally returned home, seeing me come back empty-handed, in stark contrast to my sister who had just returned from outside looking disheveled. My mother couldn't help but scold me again. She blamed me for leaving my sister out there. I sneered and retorted, "Who is the older sibling here? It's absurd that such a grown person could get lost. It just shows a lack of common sense." Hearing this, my sister rolled her eyes at me, just as she was about to argue back. Both my mom's and my phone started to vibrate. I opened the message from the homeowners group chat and saw that the group admin had posted about coordinating supplies. The reason our phones had vibrated was because the admin had specifically mentioned my mom and me. I knew that the real drama was about to begin. In my previous life, when the group admin asked everyone to log their stockpile of supplies, my sister didn't hesitate to list all the resources we had at home. 20 bags each of flour and rice weighing 20 kilos, over 100 kilos of potatoes and cabbages, and a refrigerator stocked full of various meats, along with instant noodles and other ready meals. Our house was not only fully equipped but could sustain us for months without needing to go out. After the message was sent, the group exploded with envy. My sister, ever so generous, declared that anyone short on supplies could count on her. In no time, All 500 members of the group were praising her kindness and beauty. Because of this, my sister ended up giving away a large portion of our supplies, and because of that, we became easy targets in a den of wolves. When supplies later became scarce, our home was the first to be plundered by the neighbors. At this moment, overwhelmed by the heat, my sister slumped on the couch. Her phone had automatically shut down due to the high temperatures while she was out. So she was unaware of the group admin's mention. Since I hadn't been in the heat for too long, my phone was still functioning. Ignoring me, she grabbed the towel from my mom, who was wiping her sweat, and walked into the bathroom saying, "I'm going to take a shower, it's just too hot." Meanwhile, I took out my phone and started to log the supplies: 20 bags of 20-kilo rice, 20 bags of 20-kilo flour, 10 boxes of Baixiang instant noodles, when I, just like my sister in a previous life, unreservedly listed all the supplies we currently had at home. My sister had just finished her shower and came out of the bathroom. Upon turning on her phone, she saw the long text I had filled in on the group chat. Additionally, there were strings of exclamations like, "Holy crap, awesome, room 1304 is legendary." Seeing this, my sister's face turned sour. She threw her phone onto the sofa and loudly scolded me. "Eleanor, are you stupid?" With a smile still on my face after reading the messages, I looked at her, genuinely puzzled, and asked, "What's wrong?" My sister, now laughing in frustration, raised her voice and asked, "What's wrong? You're asking me what's wrong, and here I was, thinking you were smart, but then you go and do something this foolish. You just told them what we have stored. Doesn't that put us in danger? What if someone comes asking for supplies, or worse, breaks in to rob us?" I had asked him the same question in a past life, but how had my sister responded? She accused me of being selfish, saying the high temperatures wouldn't last long and that it wouldn't matter if we gave away the goods for free. In the end, even my mom was convinced by her and joined in the accusations. Now, it seems she was aware of these drawbacks all along, but only thought of them when someone else was in charge. So, I echoed the words she once said, starting to accuse her in return. "Sis, you've always told me to be helpful and honest. I'm just telling the truth here, and besides, everyone is inherently good, and the heat won't last forever. It's not as terrifying as you think. You always say that only those with a dark psyche think so ill of others. Don't tell me you're like that, sis." My sister's expression turned peculiar. She gave me a dismissive glance and murmured, "I was just speaking my mind. It's fine to be kind, but not foolish." She then joined the discussion in the group chat, ignoring me. By the end of the conversation, she had successfully taken credit for acquiring supplies, receiving a barrage of compliments from the other residents in the group. Immersed in the chorus of praises, my sister seemed to revel in it, but I knew what truly delighted her was yet to come. Just 3 days later, the temperature had soared from 46 degrees to 52.3 degrees. Many in the residents group complained that even the air conditioning was ineffective, and indeed, it was true. The air conditioner was running, but the air it blew felt hot. Sometimes, due to voltage issues, the air conditioner wouldn't start at all. The only way to cool down was to take a cold shower. I wasn't in a hurry to leave. Instead, I was waiting for the right moment. Even at night, when everyone was asleep, I secretly installed a hidden camera in a discreet location. Today was the day the source of sin would be revealed. Soon, people in the group started mentioning my sister and my mom, claiming they were running out of supplies and seeking help. They were willing to pay for them. Without waiting for my sister to reply, I mimicked her previous tactics and responded directly, "Why talk of money? We're all neighbors here, and as the saying goes, a near neighbor is better than a distant cousin. If you're lacking anything, just come to my house. Everyone faces hard times, come on over, we have plenty to spare." As soon as the message was sent, many residents claimed they were short on supplies, and I agreed to help each one. Seeing the messages, my sister stood up and scolded me. "Eleanor, are you out of your mind, giving things away for free just because they asked?" I continued with an innocent look and asked her, "Didn't you say yesterday that we had plenty at home? And wasn't it you who said they were pitiful and that we should all stick together? Should we sell it at high prices instead?" "Sister, everyone's already so pitiable. Would it be too heartless to mark up prices?" While we were still arguing, someone knocked on the door. When the door opened, a swarm of people crowded out. You could tell how hot it was outside. Just walking from their homes to ours, they were already drenched in sweat, although my sister was visibly annoyed. Seeing a few handsome residents among the crowd, she willingly helped out. For every person who came seeking help, she handed out a bag of rice and a bag of flour, and even shared some of the vegetables and fruits stored at home. After the crowd had left, I checked and found that just from this distribution, we had given away half of our supplies. More people continued to arrive, and my sister kept generously handing out supplies. Some of the older visitors even called her a living saint. Last time, it ended with just enough supplies at home to last 10 days. When the temperature hit 52.3 degrees, the door was knocked on again. I knew that the most crucial visitor had arrived. Indeed, through the peephole, I saw the little boy standing at the door. The little boy was crying and knocking on the door, claiming he hadn't eaten for several days. He said his parents had gone out and never returned, and if no one took him in, he would die outside. But from the look in the little boy's eyes, I could tell right away that he was not a child, but a dwarf in disguise. At that moment I stopped. But what did my sister say? As she opened the door, she mocked me to our mother. "Mom, look, she's just naturally cold-hearted. Anyone who comes knocking must be from our building. What if they need help?" Not only did her words belittle me, but they also made the dwarf resent me, and he later took the opportunity to assault me. Now, seeing the little boy standing outside, I turned to ask my sister, "Sis, there's what looks like a 7 or 8-year-old boy outside. Should we open the door?" "A little boy?" My sister hesitated for a moment, then said, "Let's open it and see what's going on." As soon as the door opened, the little boy darted inside. The little boy was named Jonathan. I have to admit, he did look like a child, with the hands and feet of a young child and a head not as large as those of dwarfs I'd seen before. Except for his eyes, there was really no sign of anything unusual. Once Jonathan was inside, my sister continued to radiate her maternal glow. She not only brought food but also prepared chilled cola. While my sister was in the bathroom, I whispered to Jonathan, "You can see my sister likes you. Don't worry. She'll definitely take you in." Sure enough, when my sister came out of the bathroom, she announced her decision to adopt the dwarf, having been told earlier that my sister liked him. Jonathan now looked at my sister with a different expression in his eyes. I knew that the upcoming drama would definitely be more interesting. Like in a past life, the topic of where Jonathan would sleep at night came up again. This time, I was the first to suggest, "Why don't we let Jonathan sleep with my sister? And I'll sleep in the same room as Mom." Our home was a small 3-bedroom, and the smallest room, hardly 10 square meters, was originally my place, but after the heat wave and the start of hoarding supplies, it had turned into a storage room, crammed with all sorts of things, making it uninhabitable. Usually, my sister and I shared a room, but upon hearing this, my sister immediately frowned. "How can that be? Jonathan is still a boy." I interrupted her, "Sis, Jonathan is just a child. How can you judge a child with an adult's mindset? How filthy your thoughts are. Besides, Jonathan seems to really like you. He'd definitely be happy to sleep with you, right, Jonathan?" With my prior prompting, Jonathan immediately nodded, beginning to boast, "Yeah, I like Aurora's sister the best. She's beautiful and kind-hearted." Faced with the praise, my sister was indeed pleased and forgot her initial reluctance, readily agreeing. That night, I deliberately stayed up late. Around 2 in the morning, unusual noises began to come from my sister's room. One could imagine how my sister, still deep in sleep, was slowly taken advantage of by the dwarf lying beside her, and it was precisely because of the noise coming from my sister's bedroom that I clearly understood something. When I had called for help before, it wasn't that they hadn't heard, they had chosen to ignore it. Unlike me, my sister seemed to take great pleasure in the proceedings. Soon, her cries of alarm from the bedroom turned into sounds of mutual pleasure. Knowing that the dwarf had succeeded, I went to sleep with peace of mind. The next morning, I was awakened by my sister's cries for help. When my mother and I came out of the room, we saw my sister, disheveled, rushing out the door, pointing at Jonathan. She sobbed to our mother, "Mom, he assaulted me. He's no child." Instantly, my mother's face turned pale. A panicking Jonathan fell to his knees with a thud, hitting himself and begging for forgiveness. "Auntie, I know I was wrong. I admit I'm a disgrace. It wasn't intentional deception. The harsh circumstances forced my hand. If I hadn't done it, you wouldn't have taken me in, right? I'm willing to take responsibility for my actions. I truly care for Aurora." Hearing this, my sister's crying grew louder. "I don't want you to take any responsibility, Mom. Call the police now. I want him in jail." I couldn't help but laugh out loud, drawing the attention of all three towards me. "Scum, what are you laughing at?" My sister, infuriated, lunged at me, but before she could hit me, I pushed her away. "I'm laughing because you're being foolish, sister. It's over 50 degrees outside. Do you think calling the police will help? Besides, he already said he likes you, and it wasn't on purpose. You must like him too, otherwise why let him in? And you say he assaulted you. But why didn't I hear you cry for help last night? It seemed like you were enjoying it." My last remark made her face turn red up to her neck. She gritted her teeth and spat out, "Eleanor, what nonsense are you spouting? Keep talking, and I'll tear your mouth apart." I tilted my head towards my mother. "Mom, why not let them get married? It'd be helpful to have an extra hand around, especially with the heatwave persisting. Having a man in the house could be beneficial in case of emergencies." I threw their words right back at them. In my past life, They forced me into marrying Jonathan because they said the household needed a man. Now, it was my turn to act. My sister exploded in rage. Eleanor, have you lost your mind? I'm fully capable, and you expect me to marry a dwarf. I'm telling you, even if it kills me today, I will not. Before she could finish, I had already drawn a dagger and pressed it against her neck. This marriage has to happen. My mother, frantic with maternal love, screamed as I held the knife to my sister's neck. Eleanor, what are you doing? She's your sister. Yes, she is my sister, but what of it? In my previous life, the three of them forced me to comply. When I resisted, not only did they beat me, but they even tied me up and left me on an exposed balcony. I was scorched by the blazing temperatures, my skin peeling off, but they sat comfortably in air-conditioned rooms, eating chilled watermelon, enjoying the show. I looked at my mother and answered her earlier question. Of course, I'm trying to facilitate a good marriage. Brother-in-law, what are you waiting for? I slightly lifted my chin, signaling him to use the rope in the corner. Jonathan happily complied. In no time at all, I had tied my sister up securely. As for my mother, with a dagger in my possession, she dared not make a reckless move, only continuously crying and pleading for me not to treat my sister this way. I glanced at her emotionlessly and pushed my sister toward the balcony. Even before opening the glass door to the balcony, the heat was already intense. Then I opened the door and shoved her out forcefully. Since sister is unwilling, she can reflect on it outside. Maybe she'll come to her senses after calming down. My sister fell to the ground, screaming as the scorching hot tiles burned her. She then crawled to a shadow away from the sunlight, continuously cursing under her breath. Meanwhile, I closed the glass door, took a chilled watermelon from the fridge, and enjoyed the spectacle while eating it. My mom, intimidated by the dagger in my hand, tried to approach, but before she could touch the glass, I stopped her. Until she gives in, whoever opens the door, I will throw them out, including you, Mom. My mother's raised hand could only sheepishly retract at that moment, seeing no hope left. Aurora quickly shifted from cursing to begging. Eleanor, please let me in. It's too hot outside. I could die from this. I agreed to marry. Isn't that enough? Let me in. Please let me in. I glanced at the time and clicked my tongue. So useless. Can't even last 20 minutes. You should know that in a past life, I had to endure an hour outside. At that moment, my sister was dragged in like a dead dog. She lay limp as mud, her body soaked with sweat, cheeks flushed red, continuously mumbling, "Water. I need water. I'm dying from the heat." Jonathan lecherously eyed my sister, his gaze lingering over her body, accentuated by the sweat-soaked clothes. Realizing this, I said, "Brother-in-law, since my sister feels hot, please help her to the washroom for a cool shower." My mother seemed to want to say something but was silenced by a look from me. All she could do was watch helplessly as Jonathan tipped my sister away. As for what would happen inside, I think both my mother and I understood better than anyone after this ordeal. My sister indeed became more subdued. I knew she wouldn't let things go easily. Since the deed was already done, it was time for me to leave. The consequences should be borne by them alone. That evening, after dinner, I took precautions and left the house under the pretext of finding supplies. As I expected, the basement remained cool. As soon as I entered, the heat on me was automatically dispelled, everything ready. The remaining time was, of course, for enjoying the drama unfold. Turning on the surveillance, I saw my sister and mother no longer restrained. They opened the fridge and indulged in the cold beverages inside. Eventually, my sister, as if remembering something, secured the door with several locks. My mother exclaimed in shock, "You've locked the door. What about when your sister comes back?" My sister coldly replied, "Come back? Did you forget what she did to me? Should we let someone like her come back to kill us?" My mother paused, seemingly pondering over this question. My sister persisted in dissuading her. "Mom, you've seen the news. So far, thousands of people have died from the heat. Even if one more dies, it wouldn't be our fault. Look, the temperature is almost reaching 60 degrees now. Besides, you've seen the food situation at home. If there's one less person, it could let us hold out for a bit longer." Mom didn't reply, which was taken as her consent. To me, all this was irrelevant. After all, in my previous life, I had already seen through their true colors. That night, I didn't rush back home, and neither of them sent me any messages or called. It wasn't until the afternoon of the third day, when they noticed that the water supply at home was cut off, that they remembered to send me a message. "Eleanor, how are you? You've been out for so long. Why haven't you come back yet? Did something happen? The water's cut off at home, and we don't know when it will be restored. If you can think of a way, try to get some water back home." Mom sat in a chair, staring at her phone with a complex expression. My sister scoffed coldly. "Don't worry about her. She's probably dead outside. Better off dead. It's so annoying. The temperature keeps rising, and now the water's stopped too. We can't even bathe and everything feels sticky." I didn't reply to the message. Instead, I was drinking chilled cola, enjoying the air conditioning, and eating hot pot, watching the scene on my phone. I really wanted to show them how comfortable my life was now, but the time wasn't right. I turned off the phone and continued to enjoy my hot pot, occasionally checking messages in the community group. Some were glad they had stored water in advance. Others regretted not having stored water at home. There were also sighs about people who chose to end their lives due to the lack of supplies, only a few responses, and the number of people replying was decreasing every day. 2 days later, my sister and the others couldn't hold out any longer. They hadn't stored water in advance, only having some in the bathtub and a large fish tank at home, which still impacted their daily lives. Most importantly, their food supplies were also diminishing. Finally, my sister couldn't stand it anymore and dialed my number. To her surprise, I answered the phone after just a few rings. Hearing my voice, the first thing she asked was, "Eleanor, you're still alive?" I took a big gulp of chilled cola and responded with a nonchalant, "What else? Can a dead person answer the phone?" Hearing the sound of my swallowing, she immediately asked, "Where are you? Are you drinking water? Come back soon. The water's stopped at home, and we're all going to die of thirst." I looked around. The small basement was like a little supermarket, one wall filled with food, snacks, and drinks. I then said, "I'm in a safe place, not drinking water. I'm drinking chilled cola. As for coming home, I can't make it. You know, it's over 60 degrees outside, and stepping out recklessly would kill me from the heat." My sister, not hearing my last sentence, asked through gritted teeth, "You're drinking chilled cola. Where did you get the cola?" "I knew it," I accused. "You said you were going out to find supplies that day, but you were actually just hiding, weren't you?" I responded with a smile. "Correct answer, but there's no prize for you. By the way, I've got not only chilled Coke here but also plenty of water. Surviving a month, absolutely no problem." My words seemed to have struck a nerve with my sister. She screamed, "Eleanor, where on earth are you? You better tell us your location, or Mom and I will never forgive you." I feigned fear in my reply. "I'm so scared. What should I do?" "Sister, with you talking like that, I'm even more afraid to tell you my location. What if you come and kill me?" Mom grabbed the phone from her and tried to persuade me gently. "Eleanor, we're really running out of water at home. Your sister and we've even resorted to drinking the water from the fish tank. If this continues, we'll either die of starvation or thirst." "Mom knows you're still a kind-hearted child, right?" I interrupted her. "No, you're wrong. I'm just as bad as my sister said. Born bad. How could a bad seed possibly save you? You say you're running out of water. Well, it doesn't matter. You could always drink urine." I laughed loudly, but as I did, tears uncontrollably started to fall. Watching them descend into hell wasn't as satisfying as I had imagined, but I was certain this was the last time I'd be so weak. After laughing, I hung up the phone and, in one go, blocked all their contacts. I watched through the surveillance as they became frantic, yelling and cursing. Eventually, they collapsed from exhaustion due to conserving their energy, but the punishment was far from over. There were devils around them, and more were on their way. People in the group began to stir, resorting to all sorts of tricks for water and food. Some traded themselves for a piece of bread and a bottle of water. There were even suggestions in the residents' group chat that, in extreme water shortages, one could consider other sources given the high water content in the human body. As for my sister, she became another version of me from a past life. Jonathan came with a dagger, threatening her to use her phone to send a message in the residents' group, offering herself in exchange for a bottle of water and a piece of bread. Initially, my sister refused, but after being beaten by Jonathan, she had no choice but to comply. Men in the building began to frequently visit my sister's room, paying with just a bottle of water or a piece of bread. I watched the scene with cold eyes. I had been through all this in a past life. Though the person was a dwarf, he was surprisingly strong and agile, and with the help of Mom and my sister, I stood no chance against him. Those men abused me at will, and all I could do was silently endure, barely scraping together enough supplies to survive, even selling myself. I could only obtain just enough to keep alive this life. It was finally her turn to endure it all. This scene did not last long. After just 5 more days, people stopped going out to exchange supplies with my sister. Some were unwilling to risk the extreme heat, and many more were simply running out of food and water. When they couldn't hold on any longer, Jonathan turned his attention back to my sister. He held a dagger to her, instructing her to go out and find supplies, or to find me directly for help. Left with no other choice, my sister reluctantly agreed. Who would have thought that within less than 5 minutes of stepping out the door, there was already frantic banging and heart-wrenching cries to open it. When Jonathan opened the door, his sister had already been sunburned to the point where her skin was peeling, and her face was as red as a boiled shrimp. Seeing that she had returned empty-handed, Jonathan pulled out his belt and mercilessly beat her. When their mother tried to intervene, Jonathan stabbed her in the neck's main artery with the dagger in his hand. Almost the moment the dagger was pulled out, blood sprayed everywhere. Yet, Jonathan didn't panic. Instead, his eyes revealed a sense of delight. He quickly began to catch the blood flowing from his mother, his face alight with excitement. I think my sister must have gone mad too, after being scolded by Jonathan. She quickly grabbed a stainless steel bowl to collect our mother's blood, the two of them. Looking at a large bowl full of blood, laughed more joyously than ever before. The scene that followed was too gruesome, and I didn't have the courage to watch. When I turned the surveillance back on, my mother's body was nowhere to be found, and the room had been cleaned. They lasted another 5 days, and when I turned on the surveillance on the 6th day, my sister too lay dead on the ground. Like our mother, she died with her eyes wide open, as if in disbelief of what she saw. As for Jonathan, still holding the bowl, his eyes were red and filled with greed. Ironically, just after he had done everything, the sound of rushing water came from the bathroom faucet. The water had come back, and just like that, my sister had lost her life in vain. Watching her pale, unblinking face on the surveillance, as aggressive in her previous life and now two completely different people. Back then, she locked me on the balcony and whipped me fiercely, barely alive. I asked the question that had always puzzled me. She told me with a laugh, "Who made you smarter? Who made you better than me in everything since childhood? Only by your death can I truly surpass you. No, dying like this, you got what you deserved." Now, she is also dead, unfortunately, compared to my previous death. Her way of dying was much more merciful. The extreme heat eventually lasted a full 2 months. During these 2 months, the news reported daily on the death toll and temperature. By the end, the death toll had shockingly reached tens of thousands, but I knew that might still be an underestimate. After all, many bodies lay undiscovered in unknown corners. 2 months later, the temperature gradually started to drop, returning to the normal summer temperature of 40 degrees after half a month. People gradually began to venture outside, and after nearly 3 months of staying indoors, I too was ready to step out and embrace a new beginning, but for some reason, I felt uneasy about leaving the house. After much hesitation, I turned on the surveillance again. The room was empty, and just when I thought Jonathan had also gone out, a figure staggered out from the direction of the bedroom. It was Jonathan. His walk was not like that of a normal person. Upon closer inspection, his skin was grayish-white, his limbs stiff, and his eyes lifeless. Could this be a zombie? This discovery startled me. At the same time, a message popped up on my phone. "Citizens, please be aware. An emergency notice has been issued for our city due to an unidentified virus outbreak. Infected individuals will exhibit symptoms similar to rabies, and the contagion rate is extremely high. Please do not go out unless necessary. If you encounter anyone infected or scratched, keep your distance and contact the police immediately." Just after reading the message, a sudden bang came from the door. I walked to the door and peered through the peephole, seeing a figure staggering forward. The bang sound was due to him walking unsteadily and bumping into the door. Looking at the materials I had prepared earlier in the basement to make weapons, I sighed deeply. A new world was coming. Story 2. In our Phoenix tribe, there are no males. If we want offspring, we must purchase breeding slaves from the market. The nobler the bloodline of the breeding slave, the more powerful the offspring will be. That's when I spotted a man whose true form was a Chelan at first glance. Just as I was about to pay, a barrage of comments suddenly rained down from above. Dove's shamelessly trying to steal the male lead from the heroine. How pathetic can you get? Sweet Dove, don't fall for Kylan. He'll betray you for Sable and eventually kill you. Let that trashy Kylan end up with the equally trashy female lead. They deserve each other. Dove, just look at Draco, he's practically in tears over you. The man's utterly devoted. I withdrew the silver I'd offered, abandoning the Kylan before me, then turned to buy some creature clutching my skirt, unidentifiable as any known species. Suddenly, the screen flooded with question marks. How did Dove know Draco was the Dragon Prince? After handing over the silver, Aunt May drooled over Kylan. "If you don't want him, miss, I'll gladly take him." Her flabby flesh quivered as she reached to grab Kylan's face. I yanked the iron chain around Draco's neck. With that pale face and scrawny frame, does he even have the strength to bear children? Not my type anyway. Suddenly Kylan fell silent, spine rigid, staring at me in disbelief. I noticed the redness at the corners of his eyes. It was actually quite striking. Had I not seen those bizarre markings, I would have bought him without hesitation. Kylan suddenly let out a startled exclamation. "Miss, how could you not buy me?" I pretended not to hear and walked away. Please miss, buy me. I'll serve you like a devoted slave. Just take a good look at me." The clanking of chains rang out. Aunt May's laughter was hearty and unrestrained. A wave of skeptical comments suddenly flooded the bullet chat. What's going on? Why did Dove ditch Kylan and go for Draco instead? Did she actually recognize Draco as the Dragon Prince? But how? His powers were sealed. Dove's completely love-struck, obsessed with Kylan and nothing else. She's totally playing hard to get. Back off, male lead stands. Who said your precious protagonist is everyone's cup of tea? This supporting female character knows better. Steer clear of him for your own good. Playing hard to get. That's not me at all. I can see Kylan's true form. He's actually a Chelan. He's genuinely gorgeous. The moment he walked in, I was instantly smitten, but I'm not an idiot. Knowing full well Kylan would kill me, buying him would be downright suicidal. As for Draco here, I never would have guessed he's actually a dragon. I only bought him because he looked ruggedly handsome, with an incredible physique, perfect breeding material. On the way back, everything finally clicked. Turns out I'm just the villainess in some novel. Kylan and Sable are the main couple, with Draco being the major antagonist later in the story. I was supposed to purchase Kylan, fall hopelessly in love with him, and live blissfully together for a time, but he soon had a change of heart and fell for Sable instead. True to my belief in love above all else, I became the obstacle in their romantic journey. Later, consumed by jealousy, I relentlessly targeted Sable, stopping at nothing to make her life miserable. Kylan resented me for standing in their way, and after breaking free from restraints, they killed me. After my death, Draco sought vengeance for me but ended up being killed by them too. I'm not sure if any of this information is true, but since those words are visible, one must stay far away from Kylan. Our Phoenix tribe has no men. To reproduce, we must capture males from other clans. Women of breeding age pay to purchase breeding slaves for childbearing. The nobler the breeding stock's lineage, the more powerful their offspring. But I couldn't care less about bloodlines, only whether they're pretty and fertile. Just need one brat to shut my mother up. I tugged the leash and patted Draco's chest. Go get cleaned up. From now on, you're mine. I'll let you go after you bear my child. A well-built body really does feel different to the touch, unlike that scrawny breeding slave next door who'd topple over with one push. Not pleasant to touch at all. Draco grunted in a sullen tone. The sound was quite pleasing to my ears, lifting my spirits. Wait, Dove can't be serious. Is she really giving up on Kylan? Thank goodness she finally stopped harassing our Kylan. Now he can be happily with Sable. Can you really blame Dove? Her own breeding slave was cheating with another woman. Was she supposed to just let it slide? The real trash here is that homewrecker Sable and that ungrateful Kylan. Just got back from Kylan's place. Dove didn't purchase him, and he's absolutely devastated. Of course he's upset. Anyone would be miserable getting bought by some overweight woman like that. Does it hurt? Not my problem. When I got home, Mom started getting things ready for me. To be honest, I don't really want to have it. If I don't buy a slave soon, Mother will keep nagging me endlessly. Sigh, it's bound to happen someday anyway. So be it, Mother whispered to Draco. Dove knows nothing. I assume a grown man like you understands why you were purchased. Draco nodded coldly. Since you understand, prove your worth, work harder and impregnate my daughter soon. His silence served as tacit agreement. Draco came over in the evening, too. He'd just showered, looking unexpectedly gorgeous, even more handsome than I'd imagined. Those 8-pack abs and porcelain skin had me practically drooling. He wore a collar around his neck to prevent escape. I lay on the inner side of the bed, curling my finger to beckon him. Come to bed. Draco's face was slightly flushed. I figured the bathwater Mum prepared was too hot. He strode over to my side, body tense, words caught in his throat. Her downcast eyes betrayed an inner struggle. The barrage of comments started scrolling again. Well, the villainess ended up with the big bad. Talk about plot twists. Thank heavens Dove finally stopped tormenting our male lead Kylan. That fat woman who bought Kylan is so cruel. He looks absolutely heartbroken. Where are all those people who said the female lead would buy him? Speak up. If our Dove doesn't purchase him, he'll just keep getting humiliated by others. Can't stand that toxic main couple. The supporting female character is way better, a delicate little phoenix with our fierce dragon prince. And keep that ungrateful Kylan far away from us. Thank you very much. My face flushed red. He really does seem quite formidable. Mom said just sleeping with him would get me pregnant. Seemed simple enough to me. Sleeping's what I do best. When he didn't move, I just threw off the covers, revealing a crimson bellyband against porcelain skin. Come in, she teased. I watched scarlet bloom across his entire face, breathtakingly beautiful, as if suffering some unbearable humiliation. Their shifty eyes refused to meet mine. After a long hesitation, they bit their lip and barged in with desperate resolve, though keeping a cautious distance from me. Lying perfectly still on his back, eyes closed as if waiting for something, his long lashes kept fluttering. I wondered, it's not like I was going to hit him, so why was he trembling? So I stared at the ceiling for a while, wondering why he was acting so strange. Seriously, what are you two doing? Planning to just chat under the covers? You promised to make babies, now get moving. Bot. Report this bot. Draco, you're useless. Go get her, smash her. I'm completely confused. How do I even do this? Should I just let him hit me and run away? I really want to tell those people he can't escape with that collar on. Before long, I was so drowsy I could barely think straight. Go to sleep now. Draco clutched the blanket tightly, then turned over with a resolute, ragged breath, only to freeze at the sight of my peacefully sleeping face, after a long pause. He cast a skeptical glance at his own body, eyes flickering with uncertainty. No, no, no. Baby girl, pounce on him, scratch and bite. How could you fall asleep with such a catch right there? Draco, you're useless. Are you even capable? Dove, you're so useless. Are you really this incompetent? But if Dove and Draco are together, what about Kylan? I woke up early the next morning. Mom eagerly asked me how it went. I was grinning from ear to ear, slept like a baby, didn't even dream. Draco pursed his lips behind me, whispering to Mother, the young mistress must dislike me. It's all my fault. A flicker of disappointment crossed their face as they finished speaking. Mother understood and shook her head helplessly. She pinched my ear, scolding me for being useless. Just then, those barrage comments popped up again. Of course she doesn't like Draco. I told you she's just playing hard to get with Kylan. Dove is so calculating. She deliberately didn't help Kylan, leaving him to get beaten up by that fat woman last night. Dove gets criticized whether she helps the male lead or not. Seems like you guys just want to hate on her no matter what. Back off, main couple shippers. Hands off our precious supporting character Dove. Can't stand the main couple. He's a cheating scumbag. She's a hypocritical homewrecker. Is no one seeing how heartbroken Draco is? I swear he's sulking because Dove rejected him. Face it, Draco's obsessed. Only after Kylan killed Dove did he turn full villain. Guy's clearly nursing a secret crush. My hatred for Kylan keeps growing, got me dragged for no reason at all. I really don't think Draco could turn bad. He even trembles when sleeping next to me. How could such a sweet boy go rogue? And they say Draco's crazy about me. Really? My gaze lingered on him, only to catch him stealing glances at me. Just as I was about to speak, he blushed and bolted. Sigh. Am I really that intimidating? After dinner, I went to play with the girl next door. Just stepped out the gate when I spotted that Kylan. 3. He was leaning against the wall with dull, lifeless eyes. The moment he saw me, he charged over like he'd been injected with adrenaline. Miss, do you still remember me? I frowned and stepped back slightly. No, I don't. His eyes darkened as he reached for my hand. It's okay if you don't remember. I'm Kylan, your Dove, and I should be your husband. I stepped back from him, finding his behavior rather bizarre. I purchased Draco, not you. No, you should have chosen me instead. I don't know why you changed your mind and got Draco, but he's a bad person. Be a good Dove and exchange me back, won't you? What's going on? Kylan, how could you do this to Sable? Is Kylan being controlled by the plot? He's supposed to hate Dove. Can the male lead just die already? How pathetic to keep harassing the supporting female character. Poor Kylan, that awful woman backed him into a corner. Now he's begging the supporting female character to save him. She wouldn't just abandon him. Would she? Our poor Dove is the real victim here. Your male lead is such trash. Can someone drag him away already? I think these people are absolutely right. He really is despicable. I mimicked Mom's ferocious expression, pointing at his neck. But you've already been purchased. He pursed his lips with an ingratiating expression, then spend more silver to buy me back. I'm a Chelan. I'll strengthen your bloodline. That thing you bought yesterday can't even manifest its true form. Just release it. I'm your one true destined love. I'm getting tired of him, shaking my head to refuse him. I don't even like you. I don't want you. Think carefully. Dove, you know you love me. I thought he was acting weird and was about to shove him away, when suddenly a figure darted out from beside me. Draco stepped in front of me with a blank expression, shoving Kylan off balance. Where did this stray mutt come from? Get lost. Kylan's face instantly paled. He bristled with anger, posturing aggressively. None of your business, Draco sneered, wrapping an arm around my waist. She's my mistress, and I'll be the father of her future child. Maybe it's just my imagination, but I swear Draco sounded kinda proud when he said that. Must be imagining things, talking about children. I instinctively touched my belly, wondering if I might be pregnant now. Why did Mother scold me for being useless back then? Was it because I wasn't pregnant? I pouted. At just 20 years old, I'm practically a fledgling among the Phoenix clan, still naive about the ways of the world. Can't fathom why Mother's in such a hurry. Kylan's pupils contracted sharply. There was actually a sorrow in his eyes that I could understand. You're serious? I immediately grabbed Draco's arm with a smile. Yeah. Who knows, maybe there's already a little one growing in there. Draco shot Kylan a challenging glare, spat out a get lost at him, then protectively ushered me away from the scene. Draco, you're such a schemer, I love it. Please grow old with the second lead and don't let the male lead hurt our precious Dove. Kylan, who do you actually love? First you cheated with the heroine after being bought by the second lead. Now you're harassing her again after being sold to someone else. What's your game? OMG, is this a villain redemption arc? This is totally different from what I saw the first time. When will the heroine appear? Someone save Kylan already. All along the way, I kept asking Draco, where are you from? Why were you brought here? If I set you free, will you come back to visit me and the baby? Are you angry that I bought you? Why do you always blush like that? I shook his hand, feeling rather puzzled. Draco stopped with a resigned sigh and answered all my questions one by one. I'm Draco. I was ambushed during my promotion and captured here. My true form is just an unremarkable green snake. Since you bought me, you saved me, I'll stay to take care of you and the baby, as long as you don't despise my humble lineage. I'm blushing because the weather's too hot. He stared straight ahead and let out a long sigh after speaking. My heart warmed when he said he'd stay. That means I can sleep beside him every night now. Last night with him by my side, I slept more soundly than ever, but the weather isn't hot at all. It's not the weather that's hot, it's your heart burning. His true form is a snake. Don't fool Dove, or she'll get mad and leave you. He's not fooling Dove, he's currently sealed. Revealing his true form would put Dove in danger. He can't say it. Oh my, the Dragon Prince actually wants to stay as a live-in son-in-law. Draco, you're down bad. If dragon blood is so inferior, then what does that make Kylan? TSK, sweetie. Go ask if he likes you already, and make sure to pounce on him tonight. Reading these comments gave me a weird feeling. Is he blushing because he actually likes me? I decided to ask him directly. Draco, do you like me? His face turned even redder, hemming and hawing to change the subject. Your mother's laundry isn't hung up yet. I need to go fold the clothes. By the way, who are you going to meet? I'll give you a ride. Don't stay out too late. I'm getting hungry. He strode forward holding my hand. I beamed with delight. Hey, that's the mountain path. I need to find Sister Blossom. She lives right next to my place. He quickly turned away, avoiding my gaze. This time, I noticed even his neck had turned red. Before long, I was taken back home. Never mind, at least we didn't get lost. Sister Blossom set her breeding slave free. She's been feeling heartbroken these days. When she heard I'd also bought a breeding slave, she gave a mischievous grin. Is yours pretty? Good in bed, willing to work hard. I chuckled. Enan is really good looking, super strong, and always eager to work. When I came out, I saw him shirtless, boiling water and cooking with such enthusiasm, drenched in sweat, his fair skin flushed pink over toned muscles. It was almost embarrassing to watch, like he had boundless energy. Sister Blossom nudged my shoulder. Our little Dove's all grown up now. Did it hurt last night? I was puzzled. Why would sleeping hurt? Then the barrage of comments flooded in again. Hurt my foot. Our silly girl slept like a log. Blossom was asking about bedroom skills, but this dummy thought she meant housework. Hopeless. I swear I want to barge in and smash their faces together for a proper kiss. Silly Dove. Just sleeping won't make babies. You gotta kiss him, nibble him, devour him. Suddenly, something fell off. Her face turned as red as an apple in an instant. No wonder Mom said I was useless. Turns out I wasn't sleeping right. But the thought of kissing him made me a little nervous, for I don't dare. So for the next few days, I pretended to be asleep to avoid him. The barrage was full of tough love comments, each giving me advice on what to do. But the more they said, the more I hesitated. My heart felt like it was about to leap out of my chest every day. Lots of people were calling me out, saying I was stringing Kylan along. I wanted to snap back at them. That's not true at all. That day I was zoning out in the yard. When Kylan suddenly barged into my place, he looked much more haggard than before, yet gave me such a tender smile. Dove, I brought you a gift. I froze. What was he doing here? Draco and Mother went herb gathering, leaving me home alone. I don't want it. Stay away from me. Yet he didn't leave, but crouched down with a smile. He opened his palm, revealing a shimmering emblem resting in its center. He gazed at me with eager anticipation. The flame soul blossom is our Phoenix clan's most treasured relic. Consuming it can dramatically enhance one's cultivation and prolong life, an exceedingly rare treasure. My eyes lit up momentarily before I regained my composure. His attempt to tempt me like this surely hides malicious intent. The barrage of comments confirmed my suspicions. Dove, don't fall for his tricks. Those flame soul flowers are wholesale. He gives them to every female lead. Kylan must regret not being bought by her. Life with that fat end is brutal, beatings every single day. Sable will show up soon. Kylan, have some self-respect and hang in there, will you? He's just scamming you for money to buy his freedom. This isn't love. Dove, wake up already. I can let other deception slide, but cheating me out of money, that's where I draw the line. When I looked up again, my gaze turned even frostier. What kind of worthless gift is this? I've got piles of these at home, good for nothing but firewood. The one who bought Kylan was Aunt May from our town. Everyone knows Aunt May's loaded. I'd better not cross her. Kylan's eyes dimmed. Without a word, he quietly pressed the flame soul flower into my palm. He stood up and immediately started tending to the chores in the yard. First, he put away the dried vegetables my mother had prepared, then grabbed a broom to sweep the courtyard, as if he were the one I'd actually brought home. But I don't want him staying. I'm afraid he might kill me. I curled my lips in disdain. Moments later, I snatched the broom away. Why do you have to keep pestering me? A flicker of pain flashed in his eyes as he lowered his head with a bitter smile. It's nothing. I just think you're really great. Don't come back anymore. Kylan stood frozen in shock, fists clenched tight. His expression looked as if I'd heartlessly abandoned him. Suddenly, an enraged voice erupted from the doorway. So this is where you've been. You tricked me into removing your collar just to chase after some other girl. Have you no shame? Aunt May barged in with several burly men in tow. I quickly stepped aside. They grabbed Kylan as Aunt May slapped him across the face. The sharp crack echoed. Kylan's eyes instantly reddened, veins bulging on his forehead. Enough, I'm done with you. I'd rather die than have your child. Aunt May was furious, pummeling him with punches and kicks. The male lead is so pitiful. How did he end up like this? It's all Dove's fault. If she hadn't abandoned him, he wouldn't be suffering like this. She was supposed to serve him. How dare she walk away? I'm exhausted from arguing. Just screw off. Male lead stands. Let Dove be. He deserves every ounce of suffering coming his way. 5. Your precious male lead doesn't even like Dove. Stop the moral grandstanding. Why aren't you blaming the female lead? She's literally his canon love interest. The barrage comments are at war. I couldn't care less, cowering timidly in the corner, too scared to intervene or even move, pondering how to explain this to Aunt May. If you hit him, you can't hit me. But clearly I was overthinking it. Aunt May is really quite kind. She handed me a bag of flame soul flowers with an apologetic look. That rascal's been bothering you. These are my way of making amends. He just got the wrong idea when you glanced his way once, and now he's trying to trick you into stealing him from me. Don't fall for it. The boy's nothing but trouble. I cheerfully accepted the flame soul flowers. Don't worry, Aunt May. I won't fall for it. Kylan was dragged out, his gaze still lingering on me as he left. I pretended not to see the plea and longing in his eyes, turning back into the house. Mom and Draco rushed home the moment they heard he'd come looking for me. They both heaved a sigh of relief when they saw I was unharmed. Mother tore into Kylan with a torrent of abuse. Ugh, shameless pretty boy, preying on our young Dove. What a lowlife. If you tarnish Dove's reputation, I'll pluck you bald like a chicken. Who'd want your measly fire soul flower? That's beggar's scraps. Draco dutifully handed Mother a cup of water. Don't be angry, Mother. It's not good for your health. You're the sensible one, not running after every pretty flower. I froze. Since when did he start calling her Mom? They bantered like old familiars, making me feel like the outsider who'd married into this family. Ugh, whatever. LMAO, what's with Dove's dead inside expression? Don't you like it when he makes those noises? The supporting female lead and villain absolutely belong together. I'm shipping them hard. Just saw the male lead getting absolutely wrecked. Then he ran into the female lead on the road. Guess what happened next? The female lead tried to save Kylan and got beaten up by Aunt May too. Guess that counts as going through hardships together. Well, I wouldn't say no. Now the main couple's chemistry is completely dead. I figured with Sable around, Kylan wouldn't bother me anymore. Lost in my happy thoughts, I suddenly realized Draco had taken the seat beside me, like a magician. He produced a handful of pale yellow blossoms. His ears tinged pink as he handed them to me. Saw these on the mountain, thought you'd like them. The tiny flowers were tied in a neat bundle, their fragrance drifting to my nose, a faint, delightful fragrance. The stem feels warm to the touch, as if someone had been holding it tenderly for a long time. The warmth traveled from my fingertips straight to my heart, comforting and soothing. I broke into a silly grin. How could ordinary flowers bring more joy than receiving flame heart blossoms? After several quiet days, Kylan stopped coming indeed, only for Sable to reappear. In the courtyard, Sable stood before me, sword in hand, her eyes burning with hatred. Your Dove, because of you. Kylan refused to leave with me. He actually said his heart belongs to you. I'll kill you. The orange slipped from my grasp and hit the ground with a dull thud. Is this woman insane? What did I ever do to her? The barrage comments are popping up again. Is Sable out of her mind? What did our Dove ever do to deserve this? Great, just great. Buy the male lead and get killed by him. Don't buy him and get killed by the female lead. Is Dove doomed no matter what? As the sword came thrusting toward me, Draco stepped right in front of me. I was startled. Stop, you're still wearing the restraint collar. I meant to remove it for him today, but didn't get the chance. The next moment left me utterly stunned. With a casual tug, Draco snapped the collar effortlessly. His overwhelming cultivation easily deflected Sable's attack. In one swift motion, he sent Sable stumbling backward. Holy crap, the villain's so hot. I'm actually rooting for him to win. The heroine's completely unhinged. Hero, come control your rabid dog already. The villain could have removed his collar this whole time. Draco, you're down bad keeping that leash on. LMAO, this scheming villain dude totally got himself captured just to see his wife. Aunt May already freed them. But Kylan refuses to leave, claiming he's into Dove now. The audacity. Seriously, who does this male lead think he's fooling with his fake affection, trying to hurt our Dove again? How pathetic. Sable was no match for Draco, being forced into relentless retreat. Just as she was about to be seriously injured, Kylan suddenly appeared. Draco paused, watching him with leisurely composure. Kylan stepped in front of Sable, his expression unreadable. Sable, didn't I tell you? Dove has nothing to do with this. It's all my fault. Blame me if you must, but leave Dove out of this. With utter despair in his eyes, Sable let his sword clatter to the ground. Kylan, I hate you. If you don't kill her, we're through. Sable, I can't. Before he could finish, Sable turned and walked away. Kylan shot me an apologetic look before following her. I finally let out a sigh of relief, feeling utterly exasperated. What did I do to deserve this kind of day? Miss, are you all right? Looking up, I saw Draco's breathtakingly handsome face filled with concern. The gloom in my heart vanished in an instant. Of course I'm fine. Thank you for protecting me. Protecting you is my duty. Bathed in sunlight, he seemed to radiate a gentle glow, dazzlingly bright. That day, Mother kept urging me to deal with Draco. I knew she didn't mean literally eating him. I knew she was telling me to kiss Draco. Just thinking about being intimate with him made my heart pound wildly. Draco freshened up and quietly slipped under the covers, remembering Mother and Sister Blossom's advice, along with the audience's exasperated comments. I steeled myself to kiss him, a passionate kiss. I flipped over and pinned him down, practically drooling over him. Draco's face flushed red again, adorably awkward. Miss, I shook my head. Call me Dove. A flicker of delight appeared in his eyes. Dove, I could feel his joy. Maybe he really did like me. Funny enough, I kinda liked him too. Lost in thought, he suddenly pulled me into an embrace, rolled over, and kissed me. So soft. Their lips feel amazing to kiss. The barrage comments are flying like crazy, but I don't have time to read them now. OMG, am I even allowed to see this? This is money well spent. As a premium SVIP, this is exactly the content I deserve. Kiss me hard. Darling, go all out. My baby girl's going to suffer. It breaks my heart. Maybe I should step in and film an episode for her. But if they end up together, what about Kylan? His relationship with Sable can't develop properly without Dove's involvement. Back off, main couple. Our Dove isn't part of your little game. It took me years to finally understand what Sister Blossom meant by the pain. Mother smiled and said I'd grown up when she noticed how I walked. I happily asked Mother to fetch the midwife to check if I was with child. Mother tapped my forehead with a chuckle. Not so soon, silly girl. 6. My heart leapt with joy. Since it wasn't happening immediately, I'd keep Draco around a while longer. Not that he wanted to leave anyway. Just when I was feeling happy, Kylan showed up again. I'm almost immune to their crazy antics by now. They always find time to bother me. This time he just stood quietly outside the door. Dove, can we talk? I wanted to refuse, but Draco nodded. Go on, settle things with him. I've got your back. He did have a point. Kylan stepped outside, his face gaunt with exhaustion. His eyes met mine, brimming with unspoken remorse. I couldn't tell if his guilt stemmed from Sable's attempt on my life or something else, though truth be told, I didn't much care either way. Dove, do you really not like me? Here we go again. What exactly do you want? Male lead. Sable's already heartbroken. Must you hurt both women? I've always felt Kylan has feelings for Dove. He admitted it to Sable himself. It didn't seem like just spite. So loving her means killing her. The male lead is such a hypocrite. Is it really that hard to understand why Dove wouldn't like you? Why do I get the feeling the male lead had a rebirth and realized his mistakes? Watching these bullet comments, I think I'm starting to understand something. I nodded at him. Yes. I don't like you. I don't know why you'd think otherwise. But let me make this clear. If you've promised Sable a future, stop wavering. He pressed his lips together. Sorry about the trouble Sable caused you the other day. She just loves me too much. Then keep her in check. I'd rather not end up dead by her hands someday. How unfair would that be? Honestly, I don't feel much about those bullet comments saying Kylan once killed me. After all, I have no memory of that. Maybe those things they mentioned did happen, but that wasn't really me. The truth is I bought Draco myself. It had nothing to do with Kylan. Kylan gave a bitter smile. I've got a story to tell you. Would you like to hear it? Just then, Draco took my hand. I'll listen with her. Kylan's expression faltered for a moment before relaxing into a smile. Just as he finished his story, Sable appeared behind us. So you never truly loved me? Kylan's body tensed slightly, with apologetic eyes. She said earnestly to Sable, I'm sorry. I don't know why I fell hopelessly in love with you in that dream, and I'm still uncertain about my feelings for you now. I'm so confused. There's always this voice telling me to love you, but it feels wrong, like a betrayal to Dove, yet like a man possessed. I obeyed that voice without question, betraying Dove and hunting her down without mercy. After Dove died, I held her lifeless body for hours, haunted by how I could have become so monstrous. When no answers came, I drifted through life with you in a numb haze. That joyless half-existence ended the morning I woke to discover it was all a nightmare, and that redemption was still possible, only to find Dove had already let me go. She couldn't even be bothered to glance my way. That's when I realized my true love was Dove. Those feelings came from my own heart, not some inexplicable voice manipulating me. Sable, have you ever considered that you might not actually love me? Do you feel like there's a voice distorting your thoughts? Sable froze, lost in contemplation. Is the male lead awakening? I always knew the main leads had solid morals. How could they do something so despicable without remorse? They've finally broken free from the shackles of the narrative and begun their awakening. Kylan got a second chance, so his regret and persistence make sense, but I still can't figure out why Dove would give up on him. Sable's expression is so odd. Has she figured it out too? I smirked to myself. It's all thanks to them. Those bullet comments gave me the chance to truly be myself. They gave me a whole new life, too, and they brought me a soulmate. I looked up at Draco to find him gazing at me with unmistakable pride. I never saw Sable and Kylan again after that day. According to the comments, they went their separate ways. Sable chose to let Kylan go without forcing anything. Kylan became good friends with her, but eventually went their separate ways. Perhaps they came to realize it was time to pursue their own paths in life. Maybe they'll each find their true love and live happily ever after. As they vanished, the barrage of comments mysteriously disappeared too. I whispered a quiet thank you to those people, though I'm not sure if they could hear it. Right now, my heart swells with joy for the little life growing inside me. The midwife beamed with congratulations. This fetus carries formidable bloodline. What kind of man was his father? To think someone so powerful ended up as a breeding slave. It suddenly struck me, Draco is the dragon prince. Mother handed over the silver, grinning from ear to ear. Who would have thought? Our Dove has stumbled upon a real treasure. Draco, come quick, you've got to see your baby. I'd never seen Draco smile like that before. He was so happy, spinning me around in his arms. Yet I nestled uncomfortably in his embrace. Now that we have a baby, you should leave. 7. Draco's spine stiffened. Do you want me to go? He's the crown prince of the dragon clan. How could I possibly confine him to this tiny corner of the world? He's still got his own mission to fulfill. I bowed my head low. Go ahead. I keep my promises. That was our deal from the start. He seemed angry. Dove, what do you take me for? Just some breeding tool you can summon and dismiss at will. I couldn't look up. I was afraid I'd regret letting go. After what felt like an eternity, his grip on my hand gradually loosened. Understood. I'll leave tomorrow. My heart shattered into pieces, aching beyond words. I dread his departure, fearing to miss his entire lifetime. I feared he might linger, wasting this magnificent land. That night, sleep eluded me. The next day, Mother wanted Draco to run an errand, but though she called repeatedly, Draco was nowhere to be found. A sudden sense of foreboding rose in my heart. Did he just leave without saying goodbye? At that moment, my heart felt like it was being deep-fried in agony. I wonder if he'll ever come back. I'm starting to regret this. Draco didn't show up for 3 straight days. Mother comforted me. Don't be sad. We agreed to let him go after having a child. It hasn't been easy for him to stay this long. But Mother, my heart aches so. Sweet child, we all go through this. There'll be others after him. The next one will treat you better, but I don't want anyone else. My mind is filled with nothing but visions of Draco. Just as melancholy gripped me, a voice came from beyond the door. Prince Draco of the Dragon Clan arrives with betrothal gifts, a pair of Chelan horns, 100 bolts of celestial silk, the Imperial Dragon Whip, 1,000 immortal fruits, 10,000 flame bloom flowers. The dowry list went on forever. It made my head spin just hearing it. My heart raced with the giddy joy of something precious returned. So he hadn't abandoned me. He'd been preparing his marriage proposal all along. The mother was buried in the pile of betrothal gifts, nodding incessantly. Marry, she must marry. Take her away right now. We're rich. My daughter has made us proud. Her gaze fell upon Draco, bathed in golden light. He patted my head. Silly girl. A wife must follow her husband. Guess you're stuck coming to the Dragon Clan with me now. I froze for a moment. Right. Why was I agonizing over whether to part when I could just go with him? What a dumbass. The sky was ablaze with rosy clouds on the day the child was born. Everyone said it was a heavenly blessing, and Draco couldn't put the baby down for a second, watching him adjust the child's clothes. A sudden memory flashed through my mind. Draco. Why did you tug at my sleeve when we were buying those breeding slaves? He arched an eyebrow and tilted his head with that trademark haughtiness. Because I like you, so you let yourself get captured by the Fire Phoenix clan on purpose. His smug expression answered the question before he could speak. He must have had feelings for me for a long time. Story 2. Before the high-temperature apocalypse, my mother-in-law, along with my ex-husband, took over my house, in the 60-degree high temperature. My daughter and I were burned to death alive, reborn into this life. I mortgaged the house to loan sharks in advance. When my ex-husband came to cause trouble again, what awaited him was a group of desperados. I was gasping for breath heavily, like a fish drowning. There was a burning pain in my chest. I picked up the water on the table and gulped down 2 glasses before I finally recovered. The living room window was open, and the cool air after the rain poured into my lungs, which was impossible to exist during the high-temperature apocalypse. I realized that I had been reborn. I glanced at the calendar. It was May 30th, 3 days before the apocalypse. Without thinking too much, I quickly called my parents. Mom, you and Dad go to the street and buy as much food as you can. Also, buy a few solar generators. Mom asked in confusion, what's going on, Hannah? Is there a famine in your city? I wiped the cold sweat off my face. Sort of. You guys buy them first. I'll tell you in a couple of days. After hanging up the phone, I took the keys and went to pick up my daughter. Teacher, my mother-in-law is in poor health. I'd like to ask for a few days off for my child. The homeroom teacher didn't quite agree. The high school entrance examination is coming up soon. If the child takes a break now, under normal circumstances, when she said that, I would start to hesitate. But the apocalypse was only 3 days away. I nodded firmly. Teacher, Evelyn has a deep affection for her grandmother. She would regret it for the rest of her life if she missed seeing her for the last time. The homeroom teacher had a complicated look on her face, but in the end, she respected my wishes and brought the child out. I'll send the test papers of these days to your mobile phone. Let the child do them when she has time so that she won't fall too far behind in her studies. The homeroom teacher was very responsible. I thanked her repeatedly. Okay, teacher, thank you. Evelyn held my hand and was quite happy. Mom, are you taking me out to play or something? Anyway, it's definitely not that grandma is critically ill. She almost beat me to death when I was little. I don't have any feelings for her at all. I couldn't help laughing. After all, the child was grown up and couldn't be fooled. Let's talk when we get home. Mom needs your help with something. When we got home, while I was contacting the loan people to come and see the house, I asked my daughter to go into the room. Evelyn, today I'll leave all the mobile phones and tablets to you. You buy enough daily necessities for us to use for 3 or 4 years. Don't worry about the brands. Prioritize the ones with express delivery. It's better if they're from the same city. Make sure we can get them within 3 days. Evelyn gave me a strange look and hesitated to speak. Mom, is the world going to end or something? You're acting. I was startled. How did you know? Evelyn's eyes widened. No way. Is it really the end of the world? I mean, Mom, you're asking for leave for me and shopping. It's exactly the same as the beginning of those apocalypse novels. Someone knocked on the door, and I quickly pushed my daughter into the room. Don't make a sound. Just focus on your task of buying things. When I opened the door, several burly men came in. Are you the one who wants to mortgage the house? I tried my best to look less intimidated. Yes, it's me. Brothers, how much can this house be mortgaged for? The men walked around the house and gave me an unexpected number, 1 million yuan. Your house is quite new. It can be seen that you usually take good care of it. However, you know the interest. It doubles every month. Think it over. Although I was a bit reluctant in my heart, when I thought of Andrew, that scumbag, I almost gritted my teeth to pieces. Rather than leaving it for them to enjoy, I'd rather mortgage it, in this life. Andrew and his mother would never take advantage of me again. After signing and stamping, the money was quickly transferred to my account. We'll come to take over the house the day after tomorrow. Hurry up and pack up these 2 days. I nodded repeatedly and saw them off. Hearing the sound of the door closing, my daughter poked her head out of the room. Since we've mortgaged the house, are we going back to our hometown? My daughter had a good idea. I did plan to go back. Our hometown is in the mountains. To deal with the high-temperature apocalypse, there is not only plenty of mountain spring water but also a natural barrier of trees for cooling, compared to the city. It's much better. However, Mom, it takes 6 hours to drive from our grandparents' house to here. When will the apocalypse start? Can we make it back in time? Even though she was still young, her eyes were already full of worry. I looked at my daughter's thin body and remembered that in the previous life, even though she was terribly thirsty herself, she still left the water for me to drink. My eyes became moist, and I comforted her. Don't be afraid, Evelyn. The apocalypse doesn't come all at once. The temperature won't rise suddenly, we'll be able to make it back in time. In this life, I must protect her and my parents. I don't have the portable space like the female protagonists in novels. I have to plan carefully when buying things. Evelyn, for the big items, directly fill in our hometown address, and buy some more mineral water. Also, buy some thick quilts, thick coats, and some kerosene too. No one could tell whether there would be a cold wave after the high temperature, so it's better to buy some just in case. I packed up the things at home while my daughter shopped in the room. We didn't interfere with each other. The next day, I went out to the vegetable market to buy seeds. Halfway through the purchase, I received a call from Andrew. "Hello, my mom said she misses Evelyn. We'll go to see her tomorrow. Cook more dishes tomorrow. I want to eat pickled fish, the wild ones, that tastes fresh. Buy it early tomorrow morning." His voice was shrill, and his tone was bossy and disgusting. I clenched my phone tightly, almost unable to suppress the anger in my heart, but thinking of the good show tomorrow, I held it back. "Okay, come on over. Once you come, don't even think about leaving. The pain that Evelyn and I endured in our last life, you will have to pay back 1,000 times over." I called Arthur, the loan shark. "Hello, I won't be at home tomorrow. My husband will handle the house handover with you." I loaded all the things into the car and took my daughter to stay in a hotel next to the community. The hotel window faced the inside of the community, and I could even directly see the situation in the corridor. I had a good sleep that night. Most of the things my daughter bought had arrived, with only 1 or 2 items left. We could just pick them up at the courier station when we left, at 10 o'clock in the morning. There was a commotion outside the window. I looked out through the thin curtain. Several people were confronting each other downstairs. Andrew was so angry that his face was red and his neck was thick. "How did it become your house? This house belongs to my ex-wife." Arthur squinted at him and said in a dangerous tone, "Are you two putting on an act for me? I'm telling you, for this house today, you have to hand it over whether you like it or not." My former mother-in-law, Arya, was so anxious that she blocked the entrance of the unit building and said, "You're not allowed to go up. This is my daughter-in-law's house. It's going to be left to my nephew in the future. What does it have to do with you?" Arthur laughed. "I've been collecting debts for so many years, and this is the first time I've met someone who dares to be so rude to us." "Old lady, your daughter-in-law mortgaged the house to us." "Mortgage? Do you understand?" Arya didn't care about anything and just blocked the way. "It's her business that she mortgaged it to you. Go ask her for money. She can't make the decision about this house, only I can sell it." Seeing this, Arthur waved his hand, and his underlings immediately surrounded them. Andrew saw that the situation was not good and quickly tried to stop them. "Brother, wait a minute, let me call my ex-wife." My phone vibrated. After answering it, Andrew's voice came through more clearly. "Hannah, what the hell are you doing? Hurry up and get your ass back home. If you don't come back, I'll beat you to death." Even at a time like this, he was still threatening me. I sneered. "When times were good, you guys enjoyed the good life. Now it's time for you to pay back. None of you can escape." After saying that, I hung up the phone neatly. Downstairs, Arya's screams and Andrew's pleas for mercy rang out. Brother, take it easy. I really didn't know about this. How many loan sharks are easy to deal with? What's more, they couldn't find me now. And they were afraid that the money would go down the drain, so of course they would detain Andrew and Arya." Sure enough, the next second, Arthur's voice came. "Since you can't show the house deed and can't pay the money, use yourselves to pay off the debt." This was exactly what Andrew wanted. When he found a chance to call the police, these loan sharks would have to leave obediently. By then, with a little bit of connections and some underhanded tricks, the house would be his. Unfortunately, he didn't know that the high-temperature apocalypse would come tonight, and he wouldn't have the chance to call the police. Following such a group of desperados, one could imagine what would happen to him and Arya. Arya happily followed her son into the building, still cursing. "When that little bitch comes back, I'll skin her alive." Arya wouldn't be able to wait for me to come back. All the things my daughter bought had arrived. I picked them up and loaded them into the car, and then took my daughter on the way back home. I connected the car Bluetooth and called my mother. "Mom, tell all the uncles and aunts in the village that I have a friend in the Meteorological Bureau who said there would be a natural disaster in a couple of days. Let everyone buy more daily necessities and stock them up. Buy them in these 2 days. It'll be too late after that. If there are children working outside in the family, it doesn't matter if they're close by. But for those who are far away, let them ask for leave and come back." Mom hesitated for a moment. "Well, I'm not sure if people will listen." I thought for a while. Then, "Mom, you can say it like this. You say that I'll be home with Evelyn this afternoon. If there's really a natural disaster and they're trapped on the road, they can't blame us for not reminding them. The uncles and aunts in our hometown usually follow the crowd." Once they heard that I was going back, They definitely wouldn't be able to sit still. The elderly had always been looking forward to reuniting with their children. Now if you tell them that their children might be in danger if they don't come back in time, who could resist not calling their children? As for whether the young people would listen or not, that's not something I could control. My daughter was sitting in the back seat reading a book and said in a somewhat resigned tone, "It's the end of the world. Mom, why did you buy me a bunch of books?" I gave her a sidelong glance, trying to be lazy. Don't say it's high temperature, even if it's boiling water falling from the sky. As long as our country exists, it won't abandon the people. It's just a matter of time to control the situation. Sooner or later, life will return to normal. By then, you'll still have to take the high school entrance examination and the college entrance examination. Don't fall behind, my daughter wailed. It hurts, it really hurts. I still have to study even in the apocalypse. The temperature had already started to rise. I looked at the thermometer I had prepared in advance and found that it was already 30 degrees Celsius in the car, you know. It was only 23 degrees yesterday. My daughter felt hot and flustered. Mom, turn on the air conditioner. It's so stuffy. At this rate, the temperature might rise to 40 degrees tonight. I passed by several gas stations and filled up the gas at each one and then pumped it out. By the time I got home, I had stored 3 cans of gasoline. When I entered the village entrance, it wasn't dark yet. I saw Dad waiting from a distance, and there were a circle of old men and women around him. I didn't lie to you guys, did I? Hannah really came back with Evelyn. I stopped the car in front of the crowd, lowered the window, and the warm air outside immediately rushed into the car. The reading on the thermometer rose rapidly. Hannah, is what you said about the disaster true? Is your friend reliable? I showed them the thermometer. It was only in the 20s this morning, and now it's almost 40 degrees. Uncles and aunts, you're all good at farming. You know that in this situation, there must be a big disaster coming. I suggest that you let the children hurry back tonight and arrive home before tomorrow morning. A few people came up to take a look and were surprised. Oh, it's really 40 degrees. I was just wondering why it was so hot tonight. It's already 40 degrees. Dad raised his voice. Hurry up and go back to call the children. Working a few more days won't make you rich. If a natural disaster really comes, it'll be a matter of life and death. The group of people immediately dispersed. I took my daughter into the house, and Mom handed me a glass of cool boiled water. Hannah, take a rest first. You must be exhausted after driving for the whole afternoon. Your dad and I will go and unload the things in the car. My daughter held up her mobile phone in front of me. Mom, someone sent you messages. It's been beeping all the way. At a time like this, besides Andrew, who else would send me messages? I opened my phone and, as expected, it was him. Where did you take that loser of a daughter and hide? Are you that short of money? You mortgaged such a good school district house, so short-sighted. You're not replying to messages. When I find you, you and that little loser you gave birth to, don't even think about running away. I'll beat you to death. The weather was already hot, and seeing these messages, I felt nothing but anger in my chest. I took a few deep breaths and replied, I'll take my daughter back tomorrow. I have the house deed with me. If it weren't for wanting to see his miserable situation later, I would have blocked him long ago. My daughter came up and took a look at the message. Mom, are we really going back? I shook my head. No, I'm lying to him. First, trap him in the house. When the high temperature really comes in a couple of days, he won't be able to escape even if he has wings. Dad, don't be busy for now. We need to tidy up our cellar at home. Although we've bought solar panels and generators, with this temperature, we don't know how high it will rise. The air conditioner's outdoor unit may not be able to withstand it. When it really comes to that point, we'll have to live in the cellar for a while. The cellar was used regularly and there were a lot of sundries stored in it, if people were going to live in it, of course. We had to clear it out and put some useful daily necessities in it, after some tidying up. The dawn had already appeared on the horizon. Everyone's clothes were soaked through with sweat. Dad rimmed the hem of his clothes, walked into the house, and let out a long sigh. What a hellish weather. Has the temperature risen again? I took a look at the thermometer. It was 43 degrees. We didn't dare to turn on the air conditioner in the living room for fear of catching a cold from the sudden temperature change. My daughter woke up, rubbed her eyes, and opened the door. The cold air in the room leaked out, and the room became a bit cooler. I went into the bathroom to take a quick shower. When I came out, my phone was vibrating. I picked it up and saw that it was Andrew's call. I didn't answer it and just threw it aside. The message notification sound ding-dong rang. I clicked on it and took a look. When will you arrive? Didn't you say you'd be back today? It's already 8 o'clock. What's wrong with your crappy house? Why isn't there any water coming out of the faucet? It's so hot. Are you trying to kill me? The water supply in the city had been cut off. Andrew and Aria's doomsday had officially begun. I tapped on the phone screen and replied, I'm on the road with my daughter. There's a traffic jam because it's so hot. Wait a little longer. On the first noon of the apocalypse, the temperature had reached 45 degrees. All those who could make it back to the village had returned, at noon. The sun was so strong that one's skin would hurt after just a few minutes of exposure. I packed up all the things and drove out with my parents. A few young people who had just returned to the village saw us and asked, "Why are you going out in such a big sun?" I smiled and replied, "We just got back, and there are a lot of things at home that aren't enough. We're going to buy some and stock up." "Oh, you could go at night. The stores in town close at 10. I looked at the sky and said worriedly, "What if the temperature is even higher at night?" They looked at each other and said, "That can't be possible. There's no sun at night." I shook my head. "It's not certain. Yesterday at noon it was only 35 degrees, but at night it was already 40 degrees. The temperature has been rising continuously. It has nothing to do with day or night." Hearing me say that, they thought back and said, "It seems to be like that. Forget it. We're going to buy things too." We came back in a hurry. And there are a lot of things missing at home. Mom gave me a thumbs up. "Good job. It has to be our Hannah, who is so kind-hearted and knows to share everything with everyone." I grinned. "We're all from the same village." The main reason was that I was afraid that in the future, our family would be too conspicuous if I didn't remind everyone to buy things now. After the apocalypse really came, while others were struggling to survive, they would see that our family was still living a comfortable life just like before the apocalypse. Then wouldn't they all set their sights on us? Doing my best to protect the villagers was actually just another way to protect ourselves. There was almost no one in town. I parked the car in a roadside parking space and went into the supermarket with my parents. The sleepy clerk only glanced up at us and then continued to lie down. It was so hot that people didn't have any energy. Each of us took a small shopping cart. I scanned for snacks, while Mom and Dad bought daily necessities and seasonings. Before leaving, we also took 3 large packs of tissues. The cashier was stunned and woke up the dozing coworker next to him, helped deliver these to the car. Fortunately, we had a small minivan at home, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to fit everything. After coming out of the supermarket, we split up and went to the pharmacy to buy medicine. In a small county town, the management wasn't strict, so we bought some common medicines. "Mom, Dad, if there's anything you like to eat, buy it now. After we go back today, we won't be able to go out for a long time." Mom looked at me and said, "Then, let's buy some ice cream and go back." We immediately agreed and turned around to buy ice cream. We also bought some marinated food on the way back. We met several cars coming out of the village. Seeing us, they rolled down the windows and greeted us. "Hannah, your car is big. Come back later and help Auntie transport some things." "Okay." Mom was a kind-hearted person and was about to agree immediately. I stopped her and said, "Auntie, it's so hot today. I'm feeling dizzy. I'm afraid I can't make a second trip. The car is almost out of gas, and there's no gas station nearby. It's really not that I don't want to help you." Auntie smacked her lips twice. "Okay, then we'll transport them ourselves." Mom let out a sigh of relief. Auntie didn't make a fuss this time. "I guess she was embarrassed in front of a junior like you." I cleared my throat and said seriously, "From now on, no matter who comes to ask for help, we have to learn to refuse. The temperature is going to rise even more. If we go out to help, we might lose our lives accidentally. We can't be too kind-hearted." Mom chuckled awkwardly. I got it. "Hannah, don't be so serious. You're so fierce. I'm a little scared when I look at you." My phone ding-donged twice, and Andrew sent a message. "Where are you? Why is there such a long traffic jam? It's so hot. I don't want to go out. When you come, buy more water and bring it up. Do you hear me?" There was a convenience store just 2 steps downstairs. He wasn't even willing to walk that short distance. He deserved to be thirsty to death. When I lived in that house, because of the water pipe problem, there was often a water outage, so I always kept backup mineral water at home, but Andrew didn't know that. In this life, before I left, I cleaned up the house thoroughly and didn't even leave him a container to hold water. The loan sharks definitely wouldn't buy water for him when they bought it for themselves, so he and his lazy mother could just be thirsty together for a while. Thinking of this, I painted him another false promise. "There's still 1 hour left. I'll be there soon. I ordered water for you through takeout. It will be delivered soon. Just wait a little longer." There was no way I was going to order takeout water for him, but I had to say that so that he and his greedy mother wouldn't buy water by themselves. By night, the temperature had risen to 50 degrees. Even if he wanted to order takeout, there would be no one to deliver it. As for going out to buy it, that would depend on whether he was tough enough and had the ability to snatch it when we got home. My daughter came up to us and gave each of us a cup of warm water. "It's so hot. Drinking cold water isn't good. Warm water is absorbed faster." After drinking the water, I went to tidy up the house. Our house had been renovated a few years ago, and there was a special attic on the 2nd floor for storing things. After experiencing the lack of water and food in the previous life, in this life, looking at the full house of food and daily necessities, I felt much more at ease. At night, There was a commotion outside. Looking through the second-floor window, I saw that several families had come to the village chief's house next door. Everyone was sweating profusely, their faces anxious. "Village chief, what should we do? Our child is still in City A. He just called me and said there was a water outage and power outage there, so what Hannah said was actually true. Why didn't she emphasize it more? If something happens to my child, I'll blame her, village chief. Think of something. What should we do now?" One by one, they started pulling at the village chief as they spoke. The next second, the village chief's several burly sons came out of the house. "What are you all doing? Let go of your hands. You people didn't believe what Hannah said. Whose fault is it now? I say, you're all ungrateful. My father is so old and still has to worry about you. Are you ashamed? Get out of my house. Since you didn't listen to advice before. Don't come to my father for ideas in the future. Think of something by yourselves." The group of people were driven out, looking dejected as they went home. Mom sighed and said, "What a mess." Just as she finished speaking, she saw that group of people whispering something and then turning around and coming towards our house. Mom was too soft-hearted and not suitable for confronting people, so it was Dad and I who went downstairs, surprisingly, after knocking on the door, instead of cursing. They pleaded in a tone, "Hannah, please ask your friend again, see when the temperature will drop a little. Our Emily is so afraid of the heat. There's a power outage in the city. What should we do?" I spread my hands, indicating that I was powerless. That friend has been out of touch for days, but before she lost contact, she told me that the situation would only get worse in the future. If you have the heart, let them take a gamble. If they can make it back, they make it back. If they can't, there's nothing we can do. Dad closed the door as he said, "If you've thought it through, call your children immediately and tell them to set off at once. Last night it was only 40 degrees, and now it's 50 degrees. What about tomorrow? 60 degrees. You yourselves don't just stand there either. Go to town and buy some food and supplies. It'll really be too late if you don't go." After sending them off, it was also time for dinner. The air conditioner was still running. Afraid that the temperature difference would be too large to adapt to, we set it to 30 degrees. The actual temperature in the room was maintained at around 35 degrees. Although we were still sweating, it was already many times better than in the previous life. While we were eating, the phone kept ringing. I clicked to answer it. Almost instantly, Andrew's roar came through. "You bitch, you lied to me. Did you not even come back? You said you ordered takeout water. Where's the water? I sent you so many messages and made so many calls this afternoon. Are you blind or deaf? You didn't see or hear any of them." I held the phone a little farther away and said calmly, "Sorry. My phone is old and often can't receive signals. Earlier this year, I did buy a new phone, but your mother stole it and gave it to your nephew. It's not my fault." Andrew choked for a moment, and Aria's cursing voice came out. "You still hold a grudge about that phone until now. You really are an ungrateful brat. If you don't come back, I'll never recognize that cheap girl Evelyn in the future. She'll never get on our family tree." Dad was a protective person. Hearing this, he couldn't hold back anymore. He took the phone. "Get on your fucking family tree. I'll take care of my granddaughter myself. You'll never have the chance to recognize her in the future. Since you're divorced, you still call to harass my daughter. If I hear it again, I'll beat your son until he's half paralyzed." On the second night of the apocalypse, another group of people returned to the village. After that, there was a long silence. The 60-degree high temperature baked the earth dry. Even though the village was on the mountain and there were trees for shade, the temperature still reached an astonishing 56 degrees. During the day, there was not even a sound of cicadas or birds. At night, when the sun set, the temperature was a little better. Families in the village who hadn't prepared enough would come out to borrow things. Food and water were secondary. The most borrowed item was medicine. The village chief's family lent out cooling water a few times. I counted the stock at home and secretly sent 10 boxes to the village chief's house. I also sent 2 boxes of cooling patches. Evelyn bought them to play with before. She didn't count carefully and bought too many. The village chief held my hand to express his gratitude. I took the opportunity to mention the matter of setting up patrols. Our village is the only one that prepared in advance. Although there aren't many strong laborers in the nearby villages, we can't be sure that outsiders won't sneak in. I suggest that we gather everyone in these 2 days and dig a cellar at the village entrance at night. Each family takes turns to send people to watch it. By the time the matter of the cellar was settled, it was already the 10th day of the apocalypse. The phone signal was intermittent, and the power supply was about to be cut off. Dad installed the solar panels, and the temperature at home was always maintained at 35 degrees. Since there was no fresh food, Mom opened a few cans of meat and fruit and soaked some dried vegetables. Each of us had a box of self-heating rice and ate it with satisfaction. At this time in the previous life, my daughter and I were locked on the balcony, already so thirsty that our consciousness was blurred. Remembering the miserable state of the previous life, I felt even more sorry for my daughter. My heart was sour, and tears flowed out involuntarily. My daughter noticed and quickly took a tissue to wipe my tears. Mom, why are you crying? I haven't been naughty these days. I even learned a few more chapters of the text. I hugged her in my arms. It's nothing. Mom just remembered some things from the past and felt a little sad. The phone rang, and the caller ID showed Andrew. After answering it, it wasn't his voice but Arthur's. Your husband and your mother-in-law are in my hands. I don't want that 1 million yuan anymore. Exchange it for food and water for me. I only give you 2 days. If you don't come in 2 days, I'll kill them. I was a little stunned. After reacting, I immediately replied, then kill them. I won't come. Arthur snorted coldly. You're a really ruthless woman. Then he said to someone beside him, first, chop off one of that man's arms and let this bitch hear his screams. Immediately, Andrew's terrified scream came from the receiver. What are you doing? Don't touch me, Hannah, you bitch. You're just watching me die. You'll die a horrible death. With a scream, he fell silent. Arthur seemed a little proud. How about it? Do you feel bad? Have you thought about exchanging supplies for them? I imitated his tone and sneered. No, even if you kill them both, I won't come. Arthur paused for a moment and then snarled. Okay, chop off one of the old woman's arms too. Then he said to me again, you'd better think it through. Your mother-in-law is old. She might not be able to bear it. She might die accidentally. Arya's terrified voice also came into my ears. Don't you dare touch me. That little slut always listens to my son. Don't touch me. When my son wakes up, I'll let him talk to her properly. Before she could finish speaking, there was another scream. Arthur spoke again. Now think. I hung up the phone directly. All of this was what Andrew and Arya owed me. No matter how much they suffered, it was what they deserved. Someone was knocking on our door urgently. Uncle. We caught a group of people at the village entrance. The two sides are fighting. Hurry up and help. The people who came were from the neighboring village. Because of the high temperature and lack of water, their faces looked bad, and they smelled of sweat. A few of them even had sticky blood on them, which smelled really bad. The visitor questioned, the water source isn't exclusive to your village. Why are you occupying it? The village chief was confused. Who's occupying it? Who said you can't use it? The visitor was at a loss for words. Then why did you set up a sentry post at the village entrance? Isn't it to prevent us from coming to draw water? The village chief, we wanted to guard against the thugs from town. If you wanted to draw water, you should have said so. Why did you start fighting as soon as you came? The visitors looked at each other. Really, you're willing to let us draw water? The village chief waved his hand. Sure. Draw as much as you want, but you have to come in batches. What if you damage our village? Right, a crisis caused by a misunderstanding was resolved like this, with our village taking the lead. The remaining few villages also scrambled to come to draw water. Although the mountain spring water was much thinner than before, if we used it sparingly, it was still enough to supply several villages. The village chief gathered the chiefs of several villages together. We're all farmers in these villages. We all have stored grain. Now that we have water again, it's inevitable that others will covet us. I suggest that each village dig a cellar for vigilance. Let's remind each other if anything happens. If there's a village that's too lazy to do it and something really happens, don't expect the other villages to help. More than half a month passed peacefully. The village fought off several groups of thugs from town. Except for being a bit messy, each household was no different from before the apocalypse. We even developed some heat resistance and would come out to chat briefly at night. What a hellish weather. When will it end? Fortunately, we live in the mountains. The temperature is a bit lower here. I tried to go out a few nights ago. God, it was so hot that my breath was burning. I almost got roasted. Outside, it's a total mess. I heard from the neighboring village that few of their young and strong people came back. In this situation, I'm afraid it's more bad news than good. The signal was cut off 10 days ago. Before it was cut off, I received a lot of curses from Andrew, and also, Arthur's threatening messages. You're not coming, but we'll find you. You think you're safe just because you hid in your hometown. Your husband knows your address. Your husband said your family farms, so you must have a lot of food, right? And you live in the mountains, so there's water too. Do you really think we can't find you? Just wait. At a time like this, the possibility of them crossing a whole province to find me was extremely slim, but I still kept an eye out and told the village chief. We had a meeting together. Some people complained, why should we deal with the trouble you caused? Yeah. It's so hot. Last time we fought with people. The wounds on our bodies got infected and took a long time to heal. The village chief knocked his cane 3 times on the ground. People should learn to be grateful. Which of your children survived because of Hannah's reminder? Even you guys. Didn't you go to buy the things you're using at home because of her reminder? And those who came to get cooling water and cooling patches, that was all given by Hannah. Now we're just assuming a difficulty. And you're already being so reluctant. Are all the villagers in our Fernwick village so ungrateful? Those people were shamed into silence and didn't dare to say a word. I took the opportunity to say, I don't need you uncles and aunts to do much. Just be vigilant when you see strangers and let my family know. If there are those willing to help drive people away with my family is willing to share a few solar panels. Everyone's eyes lit up at that. This was a good thing. With electricity, the air conditioner could be used. And they wouldn't have to huddle in the small cellar anymore. My family is willing. When those people come, Hannah, just say a word, and I'll take your Uncle Chin there right away. My family is also willing. My family too. On the 46th day of the apocalypse, when I thought Andrew and the others had died on the road, in the middle of the night, the gong at the village entrance was sounded. I was startled and immediately got up. Dad went to the kitchen to get a kitchen knife and followed me out. As soon as we arrived at the village entrance, we saw several burly men fighting with the villagers. Beside them lay Andrew and Arya, looking like dead dogs. Seeing me appear, their eyes lit up. Hannah, save us. These people are demons. Hannah, I'm wrong. I'll never beat or scold you again. Please take us home. These demons beat us every day, and even bled us to drink. I really can't take it anymore. Please. I sneered and ignored them, and joined the fight with my dad. As more and more villagers rushed over, our side won the fight overwhelmingly. A few people were injured. I invited them to my house to get medicine. There's some powder medicine and antibiotics. We have the air conditioner on at home. You can stay and recover at our place these days. My family has 5 sets of solar panels. Those who help can form groups of several families and share a set. Just as I was talking, Andrew, who is lying on the ground like a dead dog, suddenly jumped up. You bitch, if you don't let me have a good life, you won't have one either. He stabbed at me with a blood-stained knife. Dad quickly pulled me behind him and then kicked Andrew hard in the chest, right in front of me. You still want to hurt my daughter, Andrew. You really don't want to live. My enraged father stood in front of me, giving me a great sense of security. Andrew was kicked until he spat blood and was lying on the ground gasping for breath. The village chief looked around and ordered people to tie them all up. We've all come from a society ruled by law. We can't bring ourselves to kill people. The loan shark's eyes flashed with a glimmer of hope. The village chief continued, but you came here with the intention of taking our lives. If we let you go, we'll be the ones who lose our lives in the future. Daniel, take some people, tie them up and put them in the back mountain. Whether they can survive depends on their luck. The beasts in the back mountain had been restless for days, tying them up and putting them there. They were doomed, but no one thought it was wrong. An eye for an eye. In this world where order had collapsed, existence was reasonable. Before sending them away, I cut a gash on Andrew and Arya's bodies each. The smell of blood spread out, and these two definitely wouldn't survive the night. A few days later, Dad told me that there were a few bones in the back mountain. It was all over. And I felt an unusual calm in my heart. The hatred from the previous life had been avenged with my own hands. The high temperature lasted for 6 months, and the land was barren. The trees in the mountains died one after another. Fewer and fewer people in the village went out, and it was deathly silent. On the first night of the 7th month, suddenly a strong wind blew, and then a heavy rain poured down. The temperature dropped rapidly. On the 3rd day, it had already dropped back to 40 degrees. Evelyn happily went out for a few rounds. Mom, is the apocalypse going to end? I shook my head. Maybe it's just a new beginning. Sure enough, the temperature didn't stop dropping. On the 5th day, it had dropped to 0 degrees, but it was easier to endure the cold than the heat. The villagers put on thick clothes and could go out. Dad and the uncles in the village went to town and found that the country had already set up protected areas. There were abundant supplies and equipment in the protected areas. With the resident ID card, people could apply to move in. I knew our country wouldn't abandon the people. I heard that when it was extremely hot before, the country had distributed water and food many times. Our village also had some, but they were embezzled by those bastards in town. The village chief gathered everyone for a meeting. Our village can be self-sufficient now, although life is a bit tough. As long as the temperature doesn't drop too ridiculously low, like -40 or 50 degrees, then we'll just stay at home and not go to the protected areas to compete for places and cause trouble for the country. The villagers all nodded in agreement. Finally, the temperature stopped at minus 20-something degrees. Several families lived together and shared a generator, and they could barely get by. In the blink of an eye, it was New Year's Eve. Mom grew some small green vegetables in the house and also sprouted some bean sprouts. She took out the last big bone that she had been reluctant to eat from the fridge and made soup and cooked hot pot. The whole family sat around the table, happy and harmonious. Dad was sweating a little while eating and took off his coat. Strange, in this weather, I can still feel hot. I thought of something, went to the room to get a thermometer, and measured the outdoor temperature, minus 18 degrees. Mom, Dad, Evelyn, the temperature is rising. Evelyn cheered. Great, finally, I don't have to dress like a ball anymore. Mom sighed. Is the apocalypse finally going to end this time? Dad said. It's hard to say, but as long as our family is together. Any difficulty is nothing. We'll get through every difficulty one by one. There will always be small joys in life and peace in the years.